Hello and welcome to science. We're getting right into it. I'm gonna learn science. I'm going to go through every single bug episode of Acorn the Nature Nut that I can possibly find. And anyone who joins the stream just has to suffer with me. Not suffer, I loved this show as a kid. I don't know how I got access to it as a kid, because it was a Canadian show and I was in fucking Florida, but somehow it aired on PBS or something. PBS would do shit like that. Alright. There's no audio yet. I gotta figure out what's up with the audio. Hang on. So we can hear the theme song. Hmm. Audio, you gotta start working. How am I gonna play this for people? This is important. It is not successfully capturing audio. That's really annoying. Maybe we can do the audio separately. Hold on. Just grab some audio for fun. No, it straight up can't capture audio. Is it because I'm watching a YouTube video? It's like, no, you can't capture audio from this. Is it being dicks like that? No, they wouldn't do that, right? Hmm. Shit, my fucking plan. Oh, god dang it. Alright, give me a brief second to try and figure this out. Why can't you find this OBS? HDCP you wouldn't be able to get. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Turn off hardware. I guess it could be hardware acceleration. I mean, usually just like check hardware acceleration is a good thing to do when it doesn't work. Um, it's just not working. No audio at all. This is annoying. Can I get audio if I do something else? Hang on, let me try something else. Whoa. Where's another thing that I can pull up that'll play audio? Uh, Wait, time to quickly boot up Slay the Spire 2 and double check that it's not just OBS broken in general. Whoa. Hang on. Okay. Get the audio from Slay the Spire 2. Does this work? Yes, but it's incredibly quiet. Is that the issue? Is the issue just that it's too quiet here for some reason? Okay, so audio's working there. So the audio does work. Let's try getting the audio from, Oh, maybe... Wait a minute. Maybe it's... Hang on. Maybe it's this? I will figure this out. I will stream this. This is my only goal. That didn't help. I've streamed browser windows and had audio before. What is happening, OBS? Why did you suddenly fail me at the last second? Worst case scenario, I could just capture desktop audio, but like that sucks. Looks like that might be what I have to do though. Anything else I can check? Sound settings real quick. Well, that's not correct. Could possibly be that, right? Wouldn't really make any sense. Well, I'm gonna try just rebooting this. Give me a second. Let me try this again. Well, let's try rebooting Firefox and trying this again, and hopefully maybe that fixes something. I don't know. And if it doesn't, I'll just have to use desktop audio. But this will happen. I will stream knowledge, because people deserve knowledge. And also, I've wanted to watch this for a while. I guess in the meantime, I can give my brief intro. This was a children's science entertainment program that I watched as a kid. Other people had Bill Nye. I didn't have that because we only got PBS, and also my parents didn't believe in evolution. But for some reason, I could watch this. I think mostly because it's just a guy talking about how bird watching is cool. But I sure did watch a lot of it. And I thought it was the best. It's like extremely low-budget Good Eats is the best way I would describe it. Wait, I might have found the issue. Cool. Extremely low-budget Good Eats. If it, instead of about being about food, it was about finding butterflies. Hello, Disco Witch. We're going to learn about Canadian bugs. I'm going through all of the bug episodes I can find. What? Firefox, are you okay? Okay, there we go. I fixed one thing and... rebooted Firefox. If this doesn't work, I will just be capturing desktop audio, which, as always, sucks, because it means that I'll, like, forget to turn off Discord audio or something, and it'll make noise, but we'll see. Let's try and see if this works. Oh. Whoa. Alright. Is it working? It's working! Yay! Alright, here we go. This was the children's science program I watched as a kid. I hope you enjoy this. I have no idea what's in these episodes. I don't know what we're going to find out. I just know that I watched this like literally 20 years ago. No, more than that actually. Probably more than 20 years ago. I was very young when I saw this, and I don't know anything about it. So, let's find out.
I'm wild about the wild things and I'm proud of it. I'm just a simple
This is the theme song.
Open and shut. No doubt
I hope you'd
about it,
enjoy
I'm a
weird
nature
Canadian
nut.
men.
Today we'll go bird watching. Tomorrow we'll catch toads.
Because if you
The
enjoyed...
next day we'll take photographs of bugs along the road. I never get the feeling that I'm in a rut. That's why I'm a nature nut. Well, I'm a nature nut. I'm not afraid to admit. I'm wild about the wild things and I'm proud of it. I'm just a simple case, open and shut. No doubt about it, I'm a nature nut.
Wait. Is the audio desynced?
Ladybirds. Why do some people call them ladybirds while other people call them ladybugs? They are often also called ladybird beetles because they are neither bugs nor birds. They are beetles. The technical name
Okay, no, the audio's
for them
correct.
is coccinellidae, or coccinellids for short. And that word actually comes from the word coccineus, which means red like a berry.
I hope you enjoy the digital equivalent of watching a video in your science class at 10 years old because your teacher couldn't come in today. Because that is what we're doing today. Fuck April Fools, we're learning things. Let's go.
This, which is red like a beanbag. The
Thank you for
other
that great
names
joke.
that have been used for ladybugs are
Yeah, beetles are
lady
bugs,
cow,
right?
Lady clock, lady cat, May cat, God's beetle, lady's beast, and so on and so
Lady's
forth. But you know, they're
beast.
not all ladies either. Some of them are men, and we don't say men bugs or boy bugs or guy bugs. That sounds stupid. The lady in the word ladybug.
You heard it here.
is
Guy
actually
bug
the
sounds
Virgin
stupid.
Mary, who apparently
What?
once had a red coccineus
Wait,
red
hold on,
bugs.
hold on.
That sounds
What?
stupid. The lady in the word ladybug is actually the Virgin Mary, who apparently once had a red coccineus red, in fact, cloak, which was very nice and reminded people of ladybugs. And word is, if you step on a ladybug, the Virgin Mary will be mad at you for 9 days. So my
What the
advice is,
fuck?
don't step on a ladybug. Today we're going to go looking for ladybugs, but before we do, we need to assemble our ladybug equipment. A ladybug
the fuck?
catching net. I have my own personal favorite ladybug hat. A ladybug pooter. I'll explain that later.
What? What?
And what we call a ladybug beating sheet. You don't actually beat the ladybugs with this, but again, it's a handy thing to have. And
Please
there's
don't
one
beat
more
your
thing,
ladybugs with a
it's
sheet.
The ladybug vest, full of ladybug equipment that I haven't mentioned yet. So, we've got the stuff. Let's go looking for ladybugs.
Ladybug no longer sounds like a word anyone says. Great sound effects here. Well done. This slightly sped up footage is so this era of TV in the funniest way to me. When will we make the Acorn the Nature Nut YouTube poop? I want to hear John Acorn say, Soos.
Well, this looks like a good place for ladybugs. You know, just about anywhere there are plants can be good for ladybugs. And one of the easiest ways to find ladybugs is to use a sweeping net. If you have a sweeping net, this is a sweeping net. Poof! Excellent little piece of equipment. A tool.
I want to hear
of the
that noise
trade.
again.
A sweeping net. If you have a sweeping net, this is a sweeping net. Poof! Excellent little piece of equipment.
Great noise, John. Great
A tool
noise.
of the trade, and all you do to use a sweeping net is simply to sweep with it, to brush it across the tops of the leaves, and hope that any ladybugs that are on those leaves will fall off. They play dead. It's called thanatosis, but why not just call it playing dead? Once you've done this for a bit,
You're a
then
science guy. You're supposed to
moment of
teach us the
excitement
science
comes.
words.
when you get to look in the net,
and see what you've caught. There's a ladybug. Unbelievable, it worked.
Wow.
Beautiful little ladybug.
The show really didn't feel like as much of a nature show as much as it felt like a show about collecting bugs.
475 species of ladybugs and over 3,000 worldwide. That's a lot of ladybugs.
I turned on the frog episode the other day, and half of it was just him going, "Look at my pet frogs." Like, this is the most...
Now, if it doesn't work with the sweep net,
It's great.
there are always other possibilities. How about this one? This is the beating sheet. It has a brutal name, but it's actually a very gentle device. Just a rectangular piece of cloth mounted on a wooden frame. Very easy to use. You can build one yourself. Just stretch it over the frame like that. You're now ready for the process of beating, and you'll need the handle from your sweeping net. And the process is really quite simple. You simply place the beating sheet underneath the plant, give the plant a little tap.
You're beating the plant,
And
not the sheet, not the
you hope
bugs.
that the process of thanatosis, playing dead, will kick in, and that if there are any ladybugs on these plants, you'll find them. And you can also hope that there aren't any wasp nests on these plants, because you will find those too. Now let's have a look. Ooh, there's a nice stone fly. And there was a spider. Oh, there's a spider. Blink. That's a spider.
No, show me more of the spider. I love spiders.
There's an
I want to
aphid.
see the spider.
No ladybugs. Oh, what's that?
Close up on the spider.
Just the world's smallest beetle. Not a ladybug. Too bad. But hey, is this fun or what?
Is this fun or what? He completely failed, but he had fun, and that's the most important
Pure
thing.
toothaches. Fortunately, I don't believe that kind of thing. Oh man, come over here. Come over. This is great. Things are really starting to hop on this little poplar tree here. Right there. That's an amazing ladybug. That's, I think, a glacial ladybug. Hippodamia glacialis. Now, I could be wrong because, hey, I don't see these things every day. But woohoo, what a beauty. That one, you see the very thick, dark markings.
That is a very pretty
red
bug.
Wing covers.
I'd
Actually,
kiss that
red
bug.
and orange wing covers. Absolutely beautiful. And there are lots and lots of, whoa, there he goes. Ah, woo. Okay, so the greatest ladybug I've ever seen has just left. These things happen.
Thank you,
I was
Acorn.
about to try to catch it with my pooter. Technically, it's called an aspirator, but I prefer to call it a pooter. And
not
a
sure
pooter is
that-
basically a tube, goes into a vial. There's a little screen in there, and you use it to sort of catch ladybugs.
What the
I'll try
fuck?
it on this little leaf beetle. It's not a ladybug, but it should work. Hold on, 1 second. Be right
This
with
is so much weirder than I expected, and I'm so happy about that.
Ha-ha. You just suck on this tube, they go in the vial, and they don't go up, the tube because there's a screen.
I love
Great.
bug
Although
catching
you do
people
get some
so
of the most
much.
amazing flavors when you do this, because, when they give off with their defensive chemicals, you breathe them. It's not a really healthy thing to do, I don't imagine, but entomologists have done it for years, and hey, didn't hurt us. And there he is, right in the vial.
Thank you for the science, I guess.
You don't have to use a beating sheet or a sweeping net. You can just look for ladybugs. They don't mind being in the open because that's why they're red and black. They have distasteful chemicals called alkaloids in their blood, and for that, they're kind of like skunks, their coloration tells birds and other predators, don't eat me, I taste really terrible. And when a bird...
It is 8 minutes into the episode. We've finally hit actual information about ladybugs. The previous 5 minutes of this episode were him showing off all of his cool techniques for catching bugs. I love him.
grabs a ladybug, it will bleed through its knee
This is one of the
joints,
earliest
releasing
episodes.
those
It gets
terrible
much
tasting
weirder
alkaloids,
later
and
on.
that's what,
I'm excited to watch a much later
what happens.
episode
So
next.
I got 2 ladybugs in the pooter, and there's no such thing as a field guide to the ladybug, so I brought my own little homemade sketch field guide. Let me show you the most common ladybugs that we are likely to encounter here today. The transverse ladybug,
Transverse ladybug. That's me. I'm the transverse ladybug. Transverse. Wow.
The 7-spotted ladybug with 7 spots, that's an introduced ladybug originally from Europe. The 2-spotted ladybug, they have very commonsensical names, don't you think? The twice-stabbed ladybug with those
What the
2
fuck?
orangey-red blotches in it.
I know some girls who would like
Parenthesis
that.
ladybug that looks like it has parentheses on its wing covers. The 13-spotted ladybug, I wonder where it got its name. And the ladybug to beat all ladybugs.
That does have 13
the eyed
spots.
ladybug. Well, let me just put that there for the moment. And we'll pull one of these guys out of the pooter. And the first thing you do, sometimes the only thing you do, is count the spots. And that one, I don't know if you can get a good look at it, but it is clearly a lovely little 7-spotted ladybug. It's a really fat one, which probably means that it's a female. The females are bigger than the males because they're full of eggs. Now before she flies away, I'll put her back in the pooter and bring out this other fellow. Come here, little ladybug. Oh no, the 7-spot's getting away. Pandemonium in the pooter. In you go.
I don't think you could say that.
And I'll let you guess what that one is. 2 spots. Hey, maybe it's a 2-spot ladybug. In fact, it is. Easy, piece of cake. There are quite a few different kinds of ladybugs though, so it's not always this easy. Whoa. But today, we're finding all sorts of interesting ladybugs and they're easy to identify.
I do respect
2-spot
anything.
ladybug, which
Hang on.
often has more than 2 spots.
Oh,
can
fuck
beat
you.
its wings 75 to 91 times per second, which is faster than a hummingbird.
You can't call something
This
the
thistle
2-spot
plant is
ladybug and then have it have
absolutely
more than
covered
2 spots.
With aphids. And aphids are a small kind of insect. They stick their beak into the thistle plant, and these ants are looking after the aphids. The ants bop the aphids with their antennae, and the aphids give them a sweet juice called honeydew. Is that weird or what? And in return, the ants are looking after the aphids. The ants are serving as their police, and usually this would be a good sort of place to look for ladybugs. But if there was a ladybug here, the ants would be making life very miserable for it. You know, that's why ladybugs are shaped like little bowls upside down, so the ants can't get at their legs and pull them apart. Now, if you don't believe that these ants are actually guarding the aphids, have a look at that. These are just little scissors. I'm not going to hurt them with this, but look at that. You show them the scissors and they just hop right on them. Scissors coming. Oh, look at that. And they're biting the scissors. They're trying to sting the scissors. Or I guess they don't have stingers. They're spraying the scissors with a defensive chemical.
They're trying to sting the scissors. Wait, they don't have scissors stings. Shit.
At these scissors. They're like little miniature shepherds guarding their flocks of sheep. The sheep, in this case, are producing honey instead of wool, but it's the same principle. You know, it's strange, too. In a garden, the plants are the good things, and the aphids are the bad guys because they're trying to kill the plants, which makes ladybugs into good guys because they eat the aphids. But here on a thistle, which is a weed, I guess the aphids must be the good guys, and that makes the ants the accessories to the good guys, and the aphids the ladybugs must be the bad guys. Very confusing. My advice is, don't try to get too ethical about nature.
This is good
there they
advice.
are, attacking the knife. And if I was a ladybug, I would be anywhere except on this plant. Finding an aphid to eat here would be really tough. Okay, everybody off. Off the knife. Off the knife. Go do something else. Guard your aphids. Ouch, ouch, ouch. There we go. You know, I think we're having
Thank
a
you,
pretty
mister.
good ladybug expedition here today. We found.
Wait, hold on. What Canadian city is that? Or wait, no, this is is this actually nature or is this like a backdrop?
Different kinds. We might find some more.
Okay, the way the
I'm
water's
watching the
moving, that
river.
definitely seems like it's real. So, what city is that? Remember that this is from like 1995. Oh, thank you. I'm a butterfly, and this is what butterflies look like.
Sometimes ladybugs, when they're flying, they'll fall in the water, and you can spot them as they float by or as they crawl up on the shore. Hasn't happened yet, but that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. In the meantime, let me tell you some intriguing ladybug facts, at least facts that I find intriguing. Did you know that a ladybug begins its life as an egg,
Take a
spends about
screenshot
4
so
or
I can
5
ask
days
people.
as an egg, then it turns into a larva and feeds on aphids as a larva, sort of a grubby looking thing, for about 4 or 5 weeks. Then it's a pupa, and it just sits there for 10 days or so, and then out of the pupa comes the ladybug, the beetle, the adult, and the adult can live for as much as 1.5 years.
Okay, I've posted my question.
A 7-spotted ladybug can lay as many as 800 eggs.
I'm normal
I
about
wonder
that.
how many dozen that is. I wonder how big those little egg cartons would be too.
Oh fuck, it didn't post my
Okay,
post
so
on
you've caught some
Mastodon.
ladybugs. What are you going to do with them now? Put them in jars? Well, who hasn't put a ladybug in a jar at some point in their life? But let me tell you, when you put a ladybug in a jar, you take on an awesome responsibility. First of all, you have to make sure they can't get out of the jar. I put a nice little paper towel lid on this one so they can still breathe. You give them a little spritz of water every day so they have something to drink. They don't need, a dish of water. They'll drown in a dish of water.
Please don't
And
put
then
me
you
in a
have to
jar.
feed them. Ladybugs eat aphids.
I would not
They
appreciate
don't
that.
eat much of anything else. A large ladybug will eat up to 100 aphids per day. A small ladybug will eat maybe 50 aphids per day. I have 3 large ladybugs and 3 small ladybugs in this jar. That means I have to put 450 aphids into this jar every day
Good
if
sticker.
I want to keep my ladybugs happy. And that's a lot of aphids. That's a lot of work, and it makes a mess of the inside of the jar. But if you're willing to go to those lengths, then you can give a happy home to your ladybugs and look in on their little lives and enjoy them and so on and so forth. But if you're like me, you're going to do the responsible thing. We're going to let these ladybugs go. Not all red and
Not
black
great pets.
beetles are ladybugs. This one, for example, is a type of a weevil. Not one of the lesser
What
of the
the
weevils.
fuck
this
is
is
that
a
bat?
long-necked weevil from Madagascar.
What is
called
that bug?
Trachylophorus giraffa. Extremely cool insect. That long neck kind of reminds me of a guitar. In fact, a little while ago I decided to build a guitar that looked like that weevil. What do you think? It actually plays quite nicely. It's built around a Gibson humbucker pickup for the best possible sound.
Of course he did.
Ladybug, ladybug, munching on aphids.
Yeah, every single episode has a song if you didn't know that. This is a relatively normal song. This episode has been very normal so far. We haven't gotten a single funny costume.
And so vapid. There's birds in the bushes and there's spiders that wait. For them you could soon be the last thing they ate.
After this, we're going to go to a fucked
When
up
you're
episode,
plucked
though.
From the tree, the poison to spew as you bleed from the knee. Ladybug, ladybug, munching on aphids. Your life is so simple, so plain and so vapid. Ladybug, ladybug, munching on aphids. Your life is so simple, so plain and so vapid.
You can't just call them vapid.
Hold your head high.
That's not an actual word. Also, that's mean.
Forth, be not in the dregs, for you like a skunk with your obvious warning. In red and black safety you greet each new morning. Ladybug, ladybug, munching on aphids. Your life is so simple, so plain and so vapid. Ladybug, ladybug, munching on aphids. Your life is so simple, so plain and so vapid.
Don't insult bugs like that. That's mean. Alright, I think we've learned enough about ladybugs for now. I'm gonna move on to the next episode. Let's go way the fuck down to one of the very late episodes and choose another bug episode. Big series about ominous Arizona arachnids. That's pretty good. We could do the monarch butterfly one. I've seen that one a few times. The chameleon one is a really horny song. Eats bugs. Probably don't want to do that. Praying mantises. That one might be fucked up. There's an episode just about the scanning electron microscope. That's pretty good. I'm gonna take a look at the praying mantis episode, and we'll see how weird it is. You'll see what the show gets to be later on. When he realizes that people like his show, and now he can afford dumb costumes and dumb bits. I'm sorry for what you're about to witness.
I'm proud of it. I'm just a simple case, open and shut. No doubt about it, I'm a nature nut. Today we'll go bird watching. Tomorrow we'll catch toads. The next day we'll take photographs of bugs along the road. I never get the feeling that I'm in a rut. That's why I'm a nature nut. Well, I'm a nature nut. I'm not afraid to admit.
He did an entire series on bird watching that I spent years trying to find, and then he just uploaded it to YouTube, and I'm very thankful for that. It's just him talking about bird watching vaguely. Oh yeah, now there's animations. Now he has funny animation.
Well, hello there, Nature Nuts. Hey, I've got good news for you this time around because we get to go back into the world of insects and spend some time with an insect that is most people's very top absolute favorite insect, the praying mantis. Oh yeah,
is
you
it?
gotta like praying mantises. They're big, they're beautiful, they're elegant, snazzy, they're nifty.
It's magnificent and sublime. And you know, I think the reason we like them so much
So true, Disco
is
Witch.
because they remind us of little tiny people. Don't you agree? Not convinced? Well, stick with me. I'll prove it to you. And I'll prove it to this little guy, too. How's it going? Hello. Hi, waving. Too neat. Glad I'm not a housefly right now. Mantids are related to cockroaches, although they
love
live
the little
very
animation.
different lifestyles.
It's so good.
Well, I hope it's not bothering you that I've been saying mantid instead of mantis. I mean, the words are almost the same, and the fact is they mean the same thing too. Mantis is the common word, or
You
the
can now-
common name. Mantid is the more scientific name. It's also easier to say mantids than it is to say mantises. Now, the rest of the common name, the praying part, that one also causes...
If you can't tell, I hope now you could immediately see what I was saying when I was saying a good eats inspiration. Also, hi Gwen.
This is confusion. Let me
We're learning
read
about
to
praying
you
mantises.
from the words of the great French entomologist Jean-Henri Fabre about the origin of the name. A long time ago, in the days of ancient Greece, this insect was named Mantis, or the prophet. The peasants saw her on the sun-scorched grass, standing half erect in a very imposing and majestic manner, with her broad green gossamer wings trailing like long veils, and her forelegs like arms raised to the sky, as though in prayer. To the peasants' ignorance, the insect seemed like a priestess or a nun, and so she came to be called the praying mantis. And that concludes our reading for the day. As the great American entomologist Ashley B. Gurney once wrote, though, the only thing these things might be praying for is a good square meal, and that's why a lot of people get all mixed up and spell it P-R-E-Y, because they do prey on other insects. So,
She's very
whatever
pretty.
expression you use,
God.
we're all gonna
Wow.
know what you mean. Don't worry about it. Doesn't
Look
matter.
at her. I would kiss her.
I think there's just about no doubt that of all the insects, mantids have the coolest heads. And you know, the reason they have cool heads
He
is
made a
because
fake
they have
head.
good necks. They can turn their head around, they can look wherever they want to look, and they can almost turn their head all the way around to look over their own shoulder. Now they've also got wonderful eyes, great big compound eyes, set well apart on a big triangular head. And what that does is it gives them what we call binocular vision. And all that means is they can estimate distance very well, which is very important when you have to sneak up on some wary little fly or something and grab it. It's, you know, if you couldn't estimate distance, you might grab too short or grab too far, or, you know, you
stumble over your prey when you're trying to sneak up on it? Ah, no good. You have to be, what was that? Don't know. You have to be able to estimate distance well, and that's why a mantid has the kind of eyes that it
Look at
does.
that mouth.
Of course, you know, we've
So
all
pretty.
heard that mantids don't really need their heads. Get them chewed off and still do things like
Yeah, we've all
breathe
heard
or
that.
fly or run or walk. But, you know, to be honest with you, if they're given their druthers, they'd rather keep their heads. They work much better with them than without them. If I was a mantid, I'd at least carry a spare. But I don't think that'd work either. I don't know.
I should get
Although
butterfly
mantids can
partials.
turn
This
their
is
heads,
true.
they
Also, I
cannot
love him
turn
holding
them
up the
as far
fake
as
head.
owls
That's
can.
great. Owls are fucked up like that.
I love watching praying mantises hunting. The strike is so fast and so accurate, and they just start eating right away. Ooh, very exciting. Very exciting. I don't understand why there aren't thousands of people studying these things, but there aren't. There are very few, and one of them is right here with me. This is Cynthia Mazer. Cynthia, what can you tell me
Woman!
about the
Yay, woman!
the strike of the praying mantis?
Well, what they do is first they get them in their sight.
Here we
They
go.
look at them.
That bee
they
is
orientate
fucked.
their body toward them. So what happens is the
Oh,
mantid
no.
will strike out at it. It can happen in less than
Oh,
a
that bee is
second.
fucked.
In a very small fraction of a second. Do they see their prey, point their body toward it, extend their forelegs, and grasp them with their spines? and
Hell
their
yeah.
forelegs, in essence,
That was sick.
impaling them so that it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, and they don't even bother killing them before they start eating either, do they?
No.
That's quite gruesome.
Yeah, it is pretty gruesome. They just go for the meatiest part. Usually the head is first.
I guess that's probably good. If you had to be eaten alive, you have your brain eaten first so you couldn't think about it. Oh, unbelievable. And
That's
we
so
picked this
true,
one,
Acorn. So true.
A winter moth. No, I got such a kick out of that because the mantid ate everything.
Yeah, they don't leave anything to waste whatsoever. Usually, especially with butterflies and moths, they'll even eat the wings.
I don't. It's that's kind of like eating your.
I love their
hamburger and
eyes.
eating a
The
napkin.
little tiny dots.
So, is this the species you were saying has a very interesting startle display?
They do. They do. A lot of mantids, to protect themselves, will make themselves look bigger by holding out their forelegs.
Can we see that? Can we bring her out and do
we
that?
sure can. Yeah, we can
okay.
see that.
Let's
We're
do
gonna
it. Now
scare the
she's gonna give
mantis
me
to
a-
get to see a fun thing.
I've got my camera here too. Let me get my camera.
Yeah, I'd love some partials and such.
Okay, now how does this work?
This is what we're going to try to show is a startle display. And one of the defensive mechanisms that mantids use to make themselves look more frightening to predators like birds is to make themselves look bigger. And
This is
they
so
also
true,
sometimes
Boyd.
have colored areas on the insides of their forelegs. So what we're going to try to do here is try to startle her.
Okay, let me get ready here. My camera's trying to look really big here too. Oh, what you doing?
Yeah, she was trying to bite my hand.
Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah. Let me get her again.
Oh, she's doing the thing. She's doing the thing where she puts her hands by her head to make it look really big.
Yeah, see that display? Forelegs up.
Great job with
tail
the fake
spots,
camera flashes, by the way,
looking
editor.
larger,
Well done.
More ferocious.
What is ferocious?
If you were a bird, wouldn't that be scary?
Big scary head.
Big red jaws.
No, that's the color of her mandibles, which are bright red.
Ooh, baby,
And
that's
see her
wild.
forelegs? Do you see those spots?
Holy crow.
Yeah. Looking large, looking scary.
Some mantids have bright
That's a
patterns
great
on their
idea. You need
wings,
one
and
person
they're
to bring their
even more
actual
impressive
dog to
when
have
they
at the end of the
display.
line.
All right.
We don't
now
want
let's
this.
have some straight talk about what exactly happens when mantids mate. We've all heard the stories.
John Acorn is going to tell us about sex. I don't know how I feel about this.
Females will reach back, grab the male by the neck, devour his head, kill him, eat him. And yeah, it's true. It's not common, but it does happen. Now, It doesn't have to happen. If you're a female mantid, I want you to make sure to have a nice big meal before you go out on your next date. If you're a male, don't be cheap. Take her out for dinner. Let her have anything and everything she wants. And if you do find yourself being devoured, don't feel too bad. I mean, the nutrients in your body will go toward the production of eggs that will become your children and the future of the next generation. The sacrifice will not be in vain.
That was a really good gag, actually. Well done. I
Did
can't
you know
complain about that.
There
That was
are
great.
8 families of mantids on Earth today, and one of them is called the flower mantid family, the Hymenopodidae, and these 2 mantids here are in that family. In fact, they are one and the same species, the orchid mantis. Let's look at this one first. This is a young orchid mantis. You can see it's a beautiful pink and white creature with a little flush of green on the back of the pronotum. Little bit
so
of a
pretty.
mauve tinge to the eyes, horned eyes. Very interesting. Most things don't have horns that are actually part of their eyes. And the abdomen, the top of the abdomen, actually does look like the lip of a flower, doesn't it? This is an adult, and she is quite a bit bigger. She's got wings. She could fly and might very well fly if I bother her too much. But you can see that she's not quite as flowery looking, but still a lot more flowery looking than your average praying mantis.
She's
What a
so
perfect
pretty.
way to make a
Holy
living.
shit.
You look like a flower. You sit around in flowery places. And if I were a little bee or a little butterfly or a hungry little hoverfly, I would come to this flower in search of nectar. And in a flash, I would be pierced by a couple dozen spines and have my head shoot off. Mantis doesn't have to go anywhere. Doesn't even have to smell like a flower, I don't think.
So true, Acorn.
No odor
so
whatsoever.
True.
They're extraordinarily clean. How you doing, bud? I just love these things. Wanna come over here? Wanna bite my finger? No. Just wants to sit there and look like a flower.
We'll watch a
And
bee
who
episode
wouldn't?
after this so that we can appreciate
legs
bees
like
after
that.
how much they've suffered in this episode. I promise.
Other species of flower mantids can be green or brown with small pink flecks on them.
Oh. Is this
Now,
going to
did
be
you know that
uncomfortable?
The movements of the praying mantis have also been the inspiration for a style of martial art called the 7-star praying mantis style. Now, I'm here with Sifu Stan Lee and his son Brendan, and Stan has studied this style for many years. Brendan is also tremendously adept at it. Tell me about the origin of it? Where did the idea come from?
Well, the idea was invented the Grandmaster of Wang Long. He was studying martial art for many, many years. But firstly, he wanted to find out how good he is. So he went to the Silam Temple to challenge the Silam monks. Silam Temple always had a good name because they're the best. But every time he fight, he lost. So one day he went to the mountain, but he ran into a praying mantis. See, the praying mantis was fighting with something. He really took the praying mantis home and prayed with the chopstick. Pushed the praying mantis to see how to fight. This is how he studied them. So he studied them for a little while. Then he went back to the Silam Temple. All the people he fight before, he beat them.
Oh, is that
This is
right?
how
Yes,
he invented the style called 7-star praying mantis.
So what can you tell me about the movements and the techniques in this style that Brendan's demonstrating?
Well, the motion Brendan was doing, is imitated by the praying mantis.
The mantis insect has big spikes on the foreleg and used to grab the prey. There are a lot of grasping motions in your style?
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, what they do, somebody see the hand coming in. This is how they grab. They see,
Oh, okay.
Right
yeah.
there.
So my arm is
Right?
held straight.
See right from
Yeah.
here. See, See?
Right.
Then
Okay. And
you
then
go
I
this way. You go
Cutting
this
to
way.
the mud,
okay.
cutting to the actual
You're like that.
mantis is
I will
very
be on the
cute.
ground, but I'm not, because this is just a demonstration. Fine. No problem. People who practice kung fu do it mostly for the exercise and not to hurt other people.
Thank you for this mantis fact, I guess. Okay. Oh fuck, is it the song? Is it a sketch or is it the song? It's the song, I think.
I'm so murderous, she mumbled, or so I'm accused. Maybe I'll turn out a new leaf. Mustering memories of childhood out back of the shed.
Yep, it's the song.
With no mother to teach her of manners.
I think this is gonna be about a lady who eats all of the boys.
Is manifested, making for no need of family planners. Melanie, the murdering mantis, more peaceful at heart than a dove. Melanie, the murdering mantis, spreading her message of love. Melanie once had a marvelous mate, though she knew him for only one night. Caught up in the moment, too bad that she ate the one who might be Mr. Right. The one who might be Mr. Right.
Yep, it's a song about her killing her husbands. Hell yeah.
Murdering mantis, more peaceful at heart than a dove. Melanie, the
He's lost his head now.
spreading her
This show's so dumb. I love it.
picking her way through the picturesque.
I hope you understand how, like, a large portion of my brain because of this show. This doesn't explain some of the bits I do on stream. I hope it helps at least.
Why can't I eat plants like the cow or vicuña? Nature made me so mean, so magnificently. Melanie, the murdering mantis, more peaceful at heart than a dove. Melanie, the murdering mantis, spreading a message of love. Melanie, the murdering mantis.
I don't really get what the vibe here is, but I'm into it.
Melanie, the murdering mantis, spreading a message of love.
So here's a nice idea for a centerpiece for your next entomological cocktail party. Why, it's just a dead stick in a vase. At least that's what your guests will think, until those irritating houseflies start swarming around the dessert tray. What can you tell me about this mantis here, Cynthia?
This mantid is called a dead leaf mantis. And as you can see, it looks very, very close to this
They're
branch.
so cool. These bugs are so
Notice
cool.
also on the pronotum,
Why aren't
they
there more
have
camouflage for
little
sodas?
projections on either side. They also have those same leafy projections on each of their legs. Anytime they have any kind of projections like that, it helps them to blend in to their surroundings, and it helps them to be hidden so that they can sneak up on prey without being noticed.
I'm just gonna poke it so that everybody believes me that there's really a mantid here. See, look, there's a mantid. How's it going, buddy?
oftentimes what mantids will do, especially juvenile mantids like this one, will hang upside down with their abdomen curled around their back there. When they become adults, though, their wings will extend past the tip of their abdomen, and their abdomens
made a very
will
good
lie
post
flat,
about nature.
so they'll look more straight rather than curved, like this young mantis looks right now.
Well, I guess there's nothing else to see on this branch.
Oh, you missed it, John. Right there. There's another mantid.
That's unbelievable. Okay, give me the scoop on this one.
Wow.
That one's called a lichen
I
mantid.
really fell for
and
it.
Doesn't she look like a piece of moss? Could you imagine seeing her if she were actually on a tree trunk with moss?
Oh, there's just no way. Unless it was moving, I don't think I'd ever see it.
And
That is
if
such a pretty
you
bug.
did
Holy
disturb
shit.
her by chance, what she would do to defend herself would be to simply to fall to the ground as if she were a leaf.
No kidding.
Right, she
Can
would
I
move.
bug her a little bit here
Yeah,
just
go
to
ahead,
see what?
go ahead.
Now,
There
don't
she is.
fall. Very cool. You know, she reminds me of I can't remember what that comic book was called, where this guy, you know, he's a mad scientist and he does this horrible experiment that goes wrong, and then he wanders out into the swamp and he becomes one with the swamp, and he's half man and half plant, and that's what
It's called Swamp Thing,
mantids
John.
could write comic books. This is what they'd come.
It's
up
called
with,
Swamp Thing.
I'm sure.
I think that's fake mall. Like that's
There is a
what she
mantid
looks
in South
like.
America called the banjo mantid that is shaped like a little green banjo.
There is? Hold on, I'm looking this up.
Oh, it's definitely time to pack her in. You know, the niftiness of mantids, it just never seems to end. Even at nighttime. Are you ready for a little snooze there, buddy? Put you up there. Even at nighttime, if you keep mantids as
I
pets,
can't find
or if
any
you go
info
out at
about
night
this.
with a flashlight,
I'm
you'll
not sure
notice
that's
that
real.
their eyes change color. Just one more cool thing about mantids. What happens is that the pigments move within the eyes, and they get a lot darker, and at that point, they can see better in low light. Fantastic. They've been around since the latter part of the age of dinosaurs, so they've had a long time to work on their niftiness. And hoof, do I ever like niftiness. That's because I'm a nature nut, and I hope you are too. I'll tell you what, come back in about an hour and check out the eyeballs on this critter. Be quiet though, I'm likely to be asleep. See you again soon. Night. Oh, turn off the light. Hey, buddy.
You didn't turn off the light in the other room, dude. Also, that is the most
Brains
Canadian bed I've ever seen.
Fly eyeballs and stuff.
Wow, look at those eyes. Look at them. This was such a good idea because I get to look at a bunch of bugs. Okay, so it's Alberta. Great North, Alberta, Canada. So this was definitely Alberta then. Great. That's really cool. I feel like we've all learned something about mantises today, and I was making a joke, but also we definitely did. I wanted to say, what I was going to say is, I feel so many people have fursonas. Listen, more Canadian than your bed? Yes. Your bed is very Canadian, and I love it. But like that bed is something that I look at it and I go, that is Canada. That is from Canada. I could look at that bed and immediately recognize it as being from Canada. What was I gonna say? No, yeah, like, look, listen. I love sparkle dogs, but you know that if you're a sparkle dog, you are getting eaten by the first predator you come across. Now, if you make your fursona able to curl up and look like a dead leaf, you might survive. See if there's a bee episode. We got click beetles, tide pools, ants. Ants could be a good one. Big, beautiful beetles. Lepidoptera. That's gonna be more butterflies. I love butterflies. You can't name your episode Coral Reefer Madness. You're gonna get in trouble. Advertise their toxicity via their colors like frogs do? Oh, you're so right. That's so true. My house is bugged. That's gonna be that. Bats. Night bugging. Digger wasps. Peregrine falcons. Owls. Reptiles. Pigment patterns. him going to Hawaii again because he's really excited about things. Gastropods, hummingbirds, mushrooms. There's mushrooms. Trout. Flies. Dung beetles. We could watch the poop episode. Worms. That's pretty good. Lizards. There's so many good episodes. Gastropods. You want to see gastropods? Okay, I'll do gastropods. Where is it? Let's learn about gastropods.
While I'm a nature nut, I'm not afraid to admit I'm wild about the wild things and I'm proud of it. I'm just a simple case, open and shut. No doubt about it, I'm a nature nut. Today we'll go bird watching, tomorrow we'll catch toads. The next day we'll take photographs of bugs along the road. I never get the feeling that I'm in a rut. That's why I'm a nature nut. Well, I'm a nature nut, I'm not afraid to admit I'm wild about the wild things and I'm proud of it. I'm just a simple case, open and shut. No doubt about it, I'm a nature nut. Greetings, fellow nature nuts, and welcome to the magnificent coastal forests of British Columbia. I'm here in
I've been there.
Stream Provincial Park, and any of you who have ever been to the magnificent coastal forests of British Columbia, especially if you've camped here, you know what you remember most. The slugs. This is a great place for slugs, and that's what we're going to do today.
We're gonna learn
be
about
looking for
slugs.
As well as
Let's
snails,
go.
which are really just kind of slugs with shells. Anyway, we'll get to that. They are members of the animal
look at that
group
guy.
called mollusks, the phylum Mollusca. And
This is
so
the episode I've
wonderful
related to
it
most
includes
because
not only
I'm
snails and slugs, but also
in
clams,
Seattle, which is close to
limpets,
British
cuttlefish,
Columbia
squid, octopi,
coastal forest, same
all
shit.
sorts of strange things that mostly live in salt water. But the one group of mollusks that has made it up onto land is the group that includes the slugs and the snails, the gastropods they're called. And you know what gastropod means? It means stomach foot. Gastro means stomach, pod means foot. Their foot, the thing that they walk on, if you can call it walking, it's not like our foot at all. It's like a great big slimy rubber surfboard, and it lies along their belly. That's why they're called stomach foot. It really should be
He
belly
might have,
foot.
he said.
And they kind of surf through the world on their slimy belly foot, very slowly, riding the waves of the forest floor. It's a beautiful thing to see. Now, I've only been here for a couple of hours, and I've only found one species of slug so far. It's a small one. It's about the size of the slugs back home, but it's a really nifty one because it has golden slime. Sort of golden yellow. You look on the side of the slug, and it has little yellow beads on it. Very
Golden
lovely. Different
slime.
species of slug, different colors of slime. They were originally going to call this Gold Slime Provincial Park, but then they decided to name it after the gold stream that runs through the park, full of spawning salmon. It's quite something, but let's ignore that. Let's go look for slugs instead.
Well, aren't we
We're ignoring all that.
lucky?
We're looking at
It's a
slugs.
perfect day for slugs. You know, out here on the
You live on
coast,
Vancouver?
people are always saying,
I need to
"Nice
go to
weather if
Vancouver,
you're a
actually.
duck."
I've been meaning to go there for a
But I
while.
don't think ducks like this weather any better than we do.
Vancouver Island.
It's
that
nice
is.
weather if you're a slug. They love it when it's rainy and gloomy and miserable because they can get out and wander around. They're not going to dry out. This is the kind of day that you want to spend looking for slugs. Let's take this
I
opportunity
love how enthusiastic
to
he is
review
about looking for slugs.
basic slug structure, the external anatomy of your average slug. Let's start with the head. And you can see on the front of the head, there are two sets of tentacles, feelers. And the top ones,
Hell yeah.
which are also the longer ones, they have a little dot at the end of them, and that dot is actually an eye. It's not a very good eye. I mean, you can look them in the eye, but they can't really look you in the eye because they can't see very well. That's why they're always poking their eyes into little grass blades and things and sucking the whole tentacle back into their head. The next set of tentacles, or the other set of tentacles, the lower set of tentacles, are the sensory tentacles, and they just use those to feel around to decide whether what they're bumping into is something to eat or something to just cruise on over. Underneath on the head, there's the mouth. Behind the head, there's a big sort of saddle-shaped patch, and that is the mantle. And the mantle is a structure that all mollusks have, but it's a mysterious structure because it never looks the same in any two mollusks. In some, it secretes the shell. In slugs, it's just kind of a saddle-shaped patch. If you were a miniature slug cowboy, that's where you'd set on this slug to ride it across the forest floor.
Good to know if you're very
If you
small
are
and you want to ride on a
miniature
slug.
cowboy, by the way, drop me a line. I'll make sure you get a chance to appear on the show. On the right side of the mantle,
Great
there's a
bit.
hole. And you might think that the slug had been wounded or shot or something. It looks really gross. But that hole is actually the opening to the slug's lung. They have a single lung, and they breathe air like you and I. They don't breathe in and out like that. They just breathe very slowly because they're not using a lot of energy in their slug lifestyle. But that's the breathing hole.
Wow, lazy slugs.
Underneath the mantle, that's where the stuff that you'd usually expect at the back of the animal, the anus and the genital opening, they're underneath the mantle. You can't see them right now, which is probably good. Apart from that, what else can I show you?
John
I can
Acorn
show
said
you this
anus.
ridge
That's fucked up.
down the middle of the back, and that is called the keel. It's also called the carina. That's very typical in biology. There's two names for everything. Just in case you think you're, a smart person for memorizing the first name, then they surprise you with the second name, the keel or the carina. And then along the bottom of the slug, the whole bottom surface is called the foot. You can see how the
That always
edge of the
confused me.
foot flares out a bit. That's called the skirt. I guess we could also
Slug
call it
who
the
sells
kilt.
feet pics.
Two names for everything. And there you have your basic slug. It's a fantastically weird critter that is perfectly adapted to its environment, especially on a day like today. Perfect for slugs.
There are carnivorous snails that use their radula mouth to drill right through the shells of other mollusks.
Well, here is a really neat little biology demonstration that you can do the next time you have a rainy day at the campsite. Have you ever wondered how those slugs move? It's a mysterious thing, isn't it? Well, in order to figure it out, you have to see the slug from the underside. You can't see the critical things looking down on them. So, what you need is a fully articulated Sluggo-Vision viewing panel. And do we have one of those here? One moment. There we are. Okay. And you put a slug on top of this panel. It's basically a piece of glass.
The way he
it in a
pretends
good
he's
position.
surprised by it is just cute to me. He's so dorky.
Then you
World's
watch very
biggest dork.
carefully on the underside of the slug. Okay. Wake up there, slug. Coast is clear.
Hello, Mr. Slug.
Okay. Starting to move. And right in the middle of the body, on the underside of the slug, there are dark bands, dark waves. And those are muscle contractions. Wave after wave of muscle contractions, and the slug is actually pushing itself along on its own slime trail. It produces the slime, and when the slime comes in contact with water, it thickens, it becomes more viscous, and the slug is able to propel
That's so
itself along
fucking
with those
cool. I'm
waves
sorry,
of
that's
muscle
so sick.
contractions,
Look at that.
one after another, in perfect harmony. Oh, it's so soothing. You know, this would be a good stress relief therapy for overworked executives, people like that. You could set one of these up in your office and close the door and get them to hold your calls. By the time the slug crawled off the panel, you'd be ready to face the challenges of that weird world out there.
What the
Not a
fuck
bad
are you
idea.
talking
Actually, I could
about,
make a lot of
John?
money with that. Take it around the country, do weekend workshops. But you know, I'm more interested
in showing you about slugs. Wave after wave. From the head.
I've decided to make a ton of money on my slug business, but instead I could, but instead I'm gonna show you more slugs. Oh, we have another guest. Hell yeah. Hem. Thank you for spending your April Fool's Day with me
This would be a good
learning
spot.
science.
Right. You know, I'm new to this slug thing, so I've asked Dave Fraser to help me out. He's the Biodiversity Extension Specialist with the British Columbia Ministry of the Environment, Lands, and Parks. It's a very impressive title, much better than Nature Nut.
More syllables anyway, yeah.
No, it is very impressive. So, are these slug-chewed mushrooms?
They
then?
are slug-chewed mushrooms. You can see the cap's been chewed at here. And that's a really important job that slugs do in our forests, is they move spores around, particularly for mycorrhizal.
The rain sound here is actually quite relaxing.
Right, form partnerships with the tree roots and...
It's
help
very
the forest,
calming.
yeah.
I can go back to bed listening to this show.
If we snap these off, we should be able to see who did this, if they're still around.
Oh,
Somebody's
there's one,
home.
eh?
There's one. There's one there, and there's some.
Oh, man, look at that.
The mother lode.
Oh, look at
Right
them
on,
all.
Slug City.
Slug City. So we've got 3 different species here. This is gold slime slug you found the first time you were in the park.
What's its real name?
Prophaceon andersonii.
Prophaceon andersonii. Lovely, beautiful name.
Beautiful.
Piece
You
of
said
cake.
that nicely. And then this black one here is called a European furrowed slug, or sometimes a black velvet slug or a licorice slug. It's a really bad garden pest. It eats a lot of vegetables and flowers in people's gardens. It also can be really aggressive to native slugs and can kill and eat them. These two
Ooh,
are
bad
both
slug.
banana slugs. 2 different color morphs. This one's got no spots. And here's a one with lots of spots.
That's a pretty slug. That's a very
banana.
You
pretty
can
slug.
see why it looks like a rotting banana.
If you like your bananas bruised, this is the one you want to get. Yeah. And of course,
That does
you
look
know
like
the
a
story
saddle.
that
Dang. I get
about
why
every
medieval
slug's
guys
called
were like, there's got to be people riding these
slugs are
slugs.
both male and female. They all go by the name cat. And when they reproduce, both partners in the mating go away, at least the first time they mate, with fertile eggs. So they actually produce a fair number of offspring.
Wow. Look at all the slime down there, too.
Yeah, the slime this slime here is amazing stuff. There's banana slugs produce at least 7 different types of slime. The strongest one is one that's produced on the tail pit, and they can use that to lower themselves down a couple of meters out of the trees. So if they need to they've been foraging up in the trees at night, need to get down before the sun dries them out, they can just lower themselves down on the slime.
Rather than
Wow.
just jump.
Yeah, jumping's a messy business for a slug. You don't want to see it. No, they lower themselves down.
In rainforests, some snails are found right up at the tops of trees.
It's fucked up. John's like, what if we dropped the slug
look
like
at that.
50 feet?
That's a land
What would
snail.
happen?
You know, for a guy like me...
Snail
from the
time!
prairies,
Let's go!
it's
I love
always
snails.
a thrill to see a land snail, and I'm always surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. After all, there are over 28,000 species of land snails and land slugs on this planet. They're everywhere, apparently. But it always surprises me to know that there are snails on land. This is a particularly nifty land snail. I mean, not only is it cute, but this one, Vespericola columbiana, also has hairs on the outside of the shell. I don't know why, maybe to discourage predators, but that's the first time I've ever seen a hairy snail, and I'm a little bit excited. Most of the
That's
land
fucked
snails around here are not snails at all, they're slugs, because it's difficult to be a land snail in an environment like this, because the forests around here, they're mostly very acidic from the breakdown of coniferous tree needles, and it's difficult in an acidic environment for a snail to get the calcium it needs together to build a shell. The shell is made out of calcium carbonate. So, many of these lineages of land snails have become land slugs instead, and a slug is just basically a snail without the shell. Marvelous things, these land snails. Lovely, 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 lovely. Some snails host part of the life cycle of parasites that can affect people. One example is swimmer's itch.
Huh.
You know, most people who have an aquarium at home will have at least a few snails in there, either by
Yay.
accident or they'll
My
get
friend
one
has
or two
snails in an
just for
aquarium.
fun. I've set up this tank primarily for the snails. The fish are the accidental ones, a couple of guppies in there. But I want you to have a look at these snails because I find them really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Most of the ones in here are ram's horn snails, and they were
look at
born
the-
in this
look
aquarium.
at the shape
Their
on
parents
that.
have
Look at-
long since passed
the
away,
fuck?
but they're
That's so
majestic
cool.
critters. The spiral of the shell is a flat spiral, and for that reason they look kind of like the horn of a bighorn sheep. If you look at them closely, they are just as magnificent as a bighorn sheep in their own way, with their sort of splotchy foot and mantle.
They look
their
so
lovely
fucking
little
weird. I
eyeballs,
love
the
them.
long tentacles, and their mustache-like faces. They're really good-looking snails. I feed them algae wafers, by the way. You can buy algae wafers at the pet store because there's not enough natural algae in this tank to keep them well fed. They're really quite voracious. I also have to keep them with plastic aquarium plants because they would just eat real aquarium plants. I've also got a huge apple snail in here. It's the size of an apple. It looks
That
a
is
lot
fucking
like
huge.
the ram's horn snails, but the spiral of the shell goes out to the side a bit, and this thing is just so big. I love watching it. It's very soothing. It's more soothing than fish watching, to my mind, because everything is kind of slow motion with these snails, if you know what I mean. And the final one I want you to notice is that lovely golden mystery snail back there. It's not a color form that occurs in nature. They've been specially bred for the aquarium trade. Lovely snails, beautiful snails, and somewhat mysterious.
A snail cow. Well, this one was bred only for aquariums, so it is like a domesticated cow.
In the pet store
feel like.
world, these apple snails are often called mystery snails. All of them. I wondered why this was. I asked dozens of pet store people. No one knew. I figured the mystery was the name itself. You call something a mystery snail, it becomes mysterious.
Yeah. Oh,
I
the apple.
finally
My
found
mistake.
part of the answer in this book, Apple Snails in the Aquarium by Dr. Gloria Pereira and Jerry G. Walls. It turns out the original mystery snail was a European snail not closely related to the apple snail, and the name mystery snail is over 200 years old, so we still don't know what was so mysterious
So fun fact
200
about all these
years
books.
ago. It's a question science cannot answer. Anyway, I can recommend this book. It's the only book I know of that tells you how to keep snails healthy in the aquarium. It's a very interesting book. It also has a unique feature I've never seen before in a pet book. At the back, there are 2 recipes in case you decide you'd rather eat your apple snails rather than keeping them alive.
What the fuck?
It's a unique feature. I doubt it's going to be much of a trend in pet books.
That's fucked
Apple
up.
snails can be pests in tropical places, eating crops and spreading parasites.
Don't eat your pet. Oh boy, it's the song. Congratulations, you've arrived at science. It's science time.
Snails are so weird. In shells they dwell, they dig, they climb. On their belly, afoot, they glide, they ride on slime.
I love the random kids looking at like, what the fuck is this? It's a great bit for this.
Flow most of the time. What's the mystery with the mystery
Does this have
snail? It ain't no mystery at all.
They're just auto-generated.
Oh, what's the mystery with the mystery snail?
Hang on.
They lay their eggs up on the wall.
I want to get a good screenshot of this.
Oh, what's the mystery with the mystery snail?
Is this a good screenshot, do you think? This is what we're watching today. I need to get some pictures of the song. So the people know what they're missing by not tuning into the stream. Let me get one of his face too. There we go, perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you, thank you. Now we can go back to the song.
The mystery snail, they lay their eggs up on the wall. Oh, what's the mystery with the mystery snail? Don't trust that look there in their eye. Oh, no. Look through the glass and watch the mystery snail. Don't let the mystery pass you by. Oh, no. Big slugs, they hug the ground around out in the rain.
Faces he's making are so awful.
The forest floor is your domain. You know it. You're so ugly. Hey, can't you see? You're driving me insane. Hi, how's it going? Don't go changing. How
What
are
the
you?
fuck?
Hey, how's that steak anyway? Looks good. Slugs in the garden.
What the fuck was that?
Patch, oh, slugs out in the
Acorn, why are you being creepy?
They eat whatever they can hunt down and catch. A tasty leaf's what makes
Oh, he's
them
slimy.
smile.
Oh.
Whoever thought that a banana slug would look exactly like its name? A piece of fruit could sprout some tentacles and look an awful lot the same. A banana! Radula face, a mollusk, a shell, well, it's a snail.
Yeah, that's now that I get that he's being slimy, that's a pretty good gag, actually.
They are so odd, onward they plod, the gastropod, the snail. Ladies and gentlemen, the snail. Thank you.
What the fuck? Also, hi Presto. I am not much of a scientist, but I love learning science. And today I'm learning about animals and other nature things from a Canadian guy.
You know, after spending time with the magnificent snails and slugs of the West Coast, I can hardly wait to get back home and admire the little tiny land snails and the little gray slugs in the garden that I've been ignoring up till now. That's the great thing about seeing the truly magnificent in nature. It makes you appreciate the common things in nature. But before we go, I have to tell you that there is the great ancestral home of all mollusks. That's where they evolved. That's where the greatest diversity of mollusks is. It's the briny deep. I like
My parents will
calling
no
it the
longer
briny
let me
deep
watch this
because
show.
I'm from Alberta. Out
I'm
here
banned.
they don't call it the briny deep. They call it the ocean.
What is
or
now
they call
Alberta?
it
That means the
marine
city was
environment,
probably
but there are
Calgary.
lots of mollusks
Because that's
out
like the
there.
only big city
Maybe
in
someday
Alberta,
we'll come
right?
back and have a look at them. That's
It's the only
great
one I
thing
know
about
of.
being a nature nut. You never run out of things to have a look at.
Wait, there was one other one.
I'm a nature nut, and I hope you are too. We'll see you again next time.
Oh, Edmonton.
Briny
There's
deep.
that one too. Congratulations, I hope you've learned about snails. I'll probably do like 2 more, then wrap up the stream. Does anyone have a request for an animal they'd like to learn about? I do need to show one thing. So the other day, Karma, who watches the stream, has a chameleon fursona. And I was like, haha, I'll send Karma the funny song from the chameleon episode. Because, like, hell yeah. It's a great gag. I love this old weird show. After we talked about it on stream. And so I went to the chameleon episode, And I pulled up the song.
Chameleons died because of
Here's the song.
roundworm
And I
parasites.
immediately had to apologize and be like, I'm so sorry. This is so much hornier than I expected. You'll understand what I mean. I wasn't ready for this. I was just like, here's a funny song. Wait, fuck, Jesus, this is like, okay.
Your eyes are like two little rubber volcanoes that swivel so sweetly when you look at me. And your lips are delightfully scaly and dry, just as cute and enticing as your weird little feet. You're so lovely and young, a beauty unsung, and I just love that thing that you do with your tongue. You do with your tongue when you get it unslung. It's as long as your body and twice as much fun.
If you don't go chameleon, go tell them you love the thing they do with their tongue, because it's as long as their body and twice as much fun. Okay, that's all. What episode next? Let's do a butterfly episode, because I'm butterflies. Where was the Lepidoptera one? Actually, I don't know. That's butterflies, right? Yeah, rainforest butterflies. Here we go.
I'm not afraid to admit I'm wild about the wild things and I'm proud of it. I'm just a simple case, open and shut. No doubt about it, I'm a nature nut. Today we'll go bird watching. Tomorrow we'll catch toads.
Was
The next
so
day
funny.
we'll take photographs of bugs along the road. I never get the feeling that I'm in a rut. That's why I'm a nature nut. Well, I'm a nature nut. I'm not afraid to admit I'm wild about the wild things and I'm proud of it. I'm just a simple case.
Hi, Elvis.
Open and shut.
I'm glad I could play a little bit of that for you. Now we're watching a butterfly episode, because I can't do this stream without doing a butterfly episode. Like, I'm butterfly girl.
A splendid example of tropical Lepidoptera. Hello, Nature Nuts. How are you? Welcome to the rainforests of Costa Rica.
I don't know anything
This
about
is the
cameras,
kind
but
of
I'll take your
place
word for it, Elvis.
that a classical Victorian butterfly collector, a lepidopterist, would have dreamed about as a destination for an expedition to collect specimens. Well, we're not here to collect specimens, we're just here to look at the butterflies. We might have to catch a few to get a closer look at them, but we'll let them go, they won't be harmed.
John, it's very
And,
funny
let me
that your
tell you,
idea
this
of
is a
British
great place for
explorer
butterflies, a
to
great place for
the
just about any
rainforest is
kind of
guy
living
looking for
thing.
butterflies.
But right now, what I care about is that it's a great place for butterflies. We're going to have a good time. After all, how can we fail? Or pardon me, how can we fail?
Professor NES, I have no idea how I got this as a kid. I was in fucking Florida. I don't know how I came across this, but I watched this as a kid and it was awesome.
A bit humid here. You know, these things don't stay in your eyes in a place like this because your face is too sweaty.
About 700 species of butterflies live in the US and Canada, and around the same number in Costa Rica.
Okay, now I want you to pay very close attention. See if you can tell where my real head is. Tricky, isn't it? That's what this butterfly is doing. The butterfly is a hair streak, and
Great gag.
at the end of the
He's
hind
very
wings,
calm.
it has a little fake head. When it moves the hind wings together, rubs them together like this, the two little tails move up and down. They look like antennae, and the
That's so cool.
spot pattern around the base of those fake antennae is the fake head. If you were a
That's so
little bird,
fucking cool.
you would probably bite that butterfly in the fake head and wind up with a beak full of wing fragments and not hurt the butterfly at all. The butterfly would fly away laughing the way butterflies often do. Hair streaks, by the way, I like doing that. Hair streaks are not an exclusively tropical group. There are lots of hair streaks all through the US and Canada, but there are probably more species of hair streaks around here than anywhere else on Earth. You should work on this. Disguise the nature of your true head. Sounds very spiritual and New Age-ish. When you can disguise the nature of your true head, then it is time to put streaks in your hair.
Okay. I'm imagining him before he did that shot right there being like, all right, what's the funniest possible way I can hold a butterfly net? Hang on. What? How about this? No, that's not funny enough. How about this? Okay, I've got it. What if I do it like this? And then walking onto the camera doing.
What do you think of my new net? This is a BioQuip Tropics net, an insect net specifically designed for catching bugs in the tropics. You know, this net is so long you might need 2 guys to work it. And the reason you need a long net is because some butterflies just don't like being anywhere near the ground. Let's go give it a try. Okay, well, the reason you need a long net is because not a lot of butterflies fly near the forest floor. Most of them fly higher up in the forest, and this one is one of the distasteful, slow-flying, long-winged butterflies. This one has the famous tiger stripe pattern that's shared by many, many mimics in different families. And it's really kind of neat too, because you know, different mimicry patterns occur at different heights in the forest. And boy, I mean, the tallest trees here are probably 150 feet, 50 meters. So if you were to go for butterflies there, you would need a really, really long net. Okay, take it easy. Slow flying, distasteful, doesn't mind me a bit. Many long-winged butterflies feed on passion flower vines as caterpillars and get their poisons from the plants. So you know, my favorite butterflies of the American tropics have got to be the morphos. And the morphos, when they fly along, you get this alternating flash of color, and then they go dark. And then a flash of color, and then they go dark. And then a flash of color, and then they go dark. Why do they do that? Well, let's get a closer look at a morpho, and I'll show you. Okay, this is how you communicate with a morpho butterfly. There are no morpho butterflies here right now, but this is a great spot. They like to hang around rivers, and they'll patrol up and down the rivers because there's a sort of a clear pathway to fly through. And they're attracted to big blue things like this chunk of blue nylon because they're blue. They're big,
so sorry.
And they're blue, and other big blue things look like morphos to them, which is very exciting. I guess it's probably good to communicate with, you know, color in the rainforest here rather than sound. I mean, there's so much sound already. All these birds and grasshoppers and crickets and grigs and stuff. Howler monkeys, they have to.
I love how they got this great shot of a toucan. So presuming this is them, then not just stock footage they found. But they got this great shot, and he's like, wow, that's cool. But it's not a butterfly, and we're doing an episode on butterflies. So it's just footage for the just a random segment.
They have to roar to be heard over all this background noise. It's not a very good howler monkey impersonation, but who knows? Oh, there we go. Hey, all right. Look at that. Isn't that just something? Whew. There you go. That's a classic scene of the neotropical rainforest. Absolutely classic. Beautiful. I don't know if this blue bag worked or not. I don't know if it stopped for the bag or whether it just, you know, happened to come close. Anyway, let me show you in the field guide here. That's what the upper surface of the morpho wing looks like. And you can see it's pure, almost pure blue. This is what the undersurface looks like. It's brownish. It has big eye spots, and we'll come back to that eye spot theme later. But apart from being a way of recognizing other morphos, that flash of color followed by the brown business, that sort of throws off the tracking system of birds that try to catch morphos in flight. And here comes another one.
The science is great
I feel
today.
like I'm waving goodbye to a ship.
Goodbye, have a lovely journey.
The science is fantastic today, Karma. I played some of the Chameleon song that I sent you, and then had to be like, Jesus, that's so much more horny than I saw.
Blue, some are white or orange.
Wow. Blue morphos are so fucking pretty, though. They're just gorgeous. Oh. Banana! Great intro to a segment. Do that without explanation. This is going on for so long with no explanation.
Yes, on the menu today, mashed banana, cantaloupe, fillet of fish, and a bit of beer. We should attract a sophisticated clientele of rainforest butterflies. We'll come back soon to see if that's the case.
Did you drink the rest of that beer, John? John, are we gonna have to have a
Well,
conversation?
I really wanted to show you a morpho close up, but I didn't want to catch one back there because I didn't want to mess with such a beautiful scene. So instead, we borrowed one from a local butterfly house, and
Wait, hang on, what did he say?
I didn't want to catch one back there because I didn't want to mess with such a beautiful scene. So instead, we borrowed one from a local butterfly house, and we're going to use this one for demonstration purposes. It's not being harmed as we speak. Now, the first thing I want you to notice is that the body of the morpho is actually pretty darn small compared to the size of the wings. And that explains why the wing beats are so slow. I mean, this little body has to really to get those wings to turn over. The next thing I want you to notice is the fantastically beautiful pattern of the underwings with all these great looking eye spots on them. I'll give you a hint why they've got them. They've got them in case they get drunk, but we'll come back to that theme as well.
What?
And finally, the most impressive
I did not know
thing
that.
about morpho is the color of the upper wings. Spectacular or what? The color is not produced by a pigment. It's not like some sort of, chemical paint in the wings. It's actually produced by the microscopic structure of the scales that make up the color of the wings. They have little ridges and grooves that, by some little magical trick of physics, manage to scatter the blue light and do something else with the rest of the light. And so you get this incredible color that changes with the angle at which you view it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a little more green, sometimes it's a little more purple. I love it. Just
Stuff like this I always feel bad
Anyway,
watching on
there
a
you go.
TV show because I know
A
it would look
morpho in
so
the
much
hand.
better if you could see it in person, like
Work doing
color
work,
changing like
and
that.
now we'll take it back to the
You just
butterfly
can't capture that.
Butterfly farm. Just call the tractor.
Check
We'll be
Final
back there in
Fantasy
no time.
14 Morphos, please do. And then send in a bug report. A bug report.
Okay, well, here's what's happening. When fruit is rotting on the forest floor, it often naturally ferments, and it can become about as alcoholic as a very light beer. Now, you combine that fact with the fact that about 40% of the butterflies in this part of the world get all of their nutrition from sipping on rotten fruit, and you got a problem. You got a problem with drunk butterflies. As you can see, our
This
bait
episode
is
is about
attracting a few
drunk
already.
butterflies.
What we have here are satyr butterflies in the genus Pyarella, and you'll notice that they have a little eye spot on the underside of the hind wing. They have them as a defense against predators. I'm sure you realize that, to startle the predators or deflect their attacks to the wings instead of the body, and that is their only line of defense once they become drunk, once they are more susceptible to the attacks of ruthless birds here on the forest floor.
This
Of course,
does
you
make
don't wanna
sense
get too
though, as a
judgmental
butterfly
about it. It's not really a
myself.
social
I have
problem
the
for butterflies because butterflies are not social creatures.
Aw.
Each individual butterfly takes responsibility for its own actions.
Well, I take responsibility for my own
Tropical
actions, but I am
butterflies will
social.
also sip at carrion, dung, or urine, disgusting as that may seem to us.
I won't do that. But this does make sense given that I have the alcohol tolerance of like nothing. Oh, it's the song time. Let's go. What's it gonna be? Is it about drunk butterflies? Let's go.
Whoever she was calling wasn't home. She was looking mighty good to me. But then I really couldn't tell 'cause I could barely see. The joint was jumping, everybody having fun. And as she got up to leave, I said, please don't be so quick to run. Oh, have a sip of wine and spend some time with me. The night is ever young and there is much to see. My head is spinning round and round. I can't tell my up from down.
This is such a normal ass song. Such a normal ass song about being drunk. You can't just use one of your demo tapes as the butterfly song, John. That's not legal.
I hear the phone and my heart stops every day. I got a notion that she hasn't gone away. Every place I go, I keep seeing those big brown eyes. Something about her got me hypnotized. She looked a beauty, a dream on air. And when I saw her again, she was leaving with a friend. I was lost in my despair.
This is just a normal song about a weird guy in a bar.
Have a sip of wine and spend some time with me.
You can't do this, John. This is illegal.
Young and there is much to see. You got me spinning round and round. I can't tell my up from down. It's unreality. Unreality. It's unreality.
This is what every butterfly is dealing with every time they eat a piece of fruit. But no, this makes sense. I eat a bunch of fruit. The 1998 adult alternative charts. Exactly. Nature
Hey,
Nut
look,
UTV.
Mom, I'm on TV. I've always wanted to be on TV.
You are on TV.
Let's get serious. Let's go back and do a little bit of review here. Review the difference between butterflies and moths.
Yay.
Now, butterfly is nothing more and nothing less than a very fancy kind of a colorful day-flying moth. And the only reliable way to tell a butterfly from a moth is by the fact that butterflies have clubs, little blobby enlargements on the ends of their antennae. Now a moth will either have, excuse me here.
Oh, this is a great bit.
Okay.
Putting it on the
Back to
antenna, I
moths.
get it.
Moths
Hell
will
yeah.
either have just straight, filamentous antennae, or they will have, I don't know if you use the word filamentous as often as I do, but it just means like a filament. Or they'll have big fuzzy antennae. And there's one moth around here that fools just about everyone. It's a beautiful, iridescent green and black and white, and it's called Urania. And it looks a great deal like a swallowtail butterfly. Now, it's not mimicking a bad-tasting swallowtail butterfly. It just looks like a swallowtail because it does the same things as swallowtails. Flies around in the day, has very powerful wing beats, very pointed wings for fast flight, and it even has the long tails on the end of the hind wing, just like a swallowtail. That is just one heck of a good-looking moth. Urania.
That's a really
Okay.
pretty moth.
Bye now.
I love him being like, wow, I'm on
Man, some of
TV
these
when we're watching a
rainforest
TV
butterflies
show
are
about
so
it.
skittish. It would be better to be invisible to sneak up on them. And that's what this butterfly is thinking too.
Oh, fuck.
Not what it's thinking, but what it's doing.
It's one of my favorites.
Have a look at that. There's something you won't see back home. That is a completely clear-winged butterfly.
These are incredible.
When you think about it, being transparent, that's the perfect camouflage. In a sense, you become invisible because a predator just looks right straight through your clear wings and sees the forest in behind. When a predator gets close, though, the second line of defense are these beautiful big eye spots on the hind wings. They even have a little glint in them, so they look like the glistening eyeball of an angry, venomous snake. Very exciting. It's a wonderful thing for this thing to do. And even though it's one of the most delicate butterflies you can imagine, and look at that. It's got a third line of defense. Plays dead. Plays dead. I said play dead, don't be dead. There, see? Live. Clear wing butterfly.
My God, just look at that.
Nice.
They're fucking incredible. There's a, hang on, wait, I have an emote for that.
Mimicry. What is mimicry?
Glasswing butterfly emote.
Is it merely imitation? Imitation? Or something else?
You spent so much time preparing for this gag.
Hard to get the last word in with that critter there. Mimicry. That's what the butterflies of South and Central America are most famous
Pick him up
for.
as a sour
And
swallowtail
I want to
butterfly. That's
explain
awesome.
it to you here, at least a little bit of it. I've got the field guide. Have a look. Check this out. Isn't this interesting? You see all these butterflies here?
Okay, there's a brief pause on the field guide here. So he talks a lot about how cool field guides are and how cool it is to have these books. And nowadays, most people just use their phones and things. However, my partner Gwyn did in fact find me Pacific Northwest field guides for butterflies and birds that were actually written by him. I'm holding right now Birds of the Pacific Northwest Coast by Nancy Barron and John Acorn, which is awesome. I'm so glad. It was a gift a while ago. I'm so happy.
They all have the same color pattern, more or less, but they're not closely related. They all independently evolved that same color pattern. Same with this bunch of them down here. This bunch up here. This bunch in here. And these guys down here. Now, isn't that a weird thing? Let me tell you what it's all about. It's all about, well, the reason that we came here. The reason we came here is because there are more species of butterflies here than, just about anywhere else. It's diversity, biodiversity, and that means that, of course, there are more butterflies to learn, which is difficult for a guy like me who wants to be able to know what sort of species of butterflies he's looking at, but it's also difficult for birds. And if these butterflies, many of them taste bad because they take in poisonous chemicals as caterpillars when they're chewing on their food plants.
Those big red spots.
That gives them the toxins in their
spirals.
body that make birds not want to eat them. So, if the butterflies look
It's just so
like
cool.
each other, then the birds only have to memorize a few color patterns, and they don't have such a tough time figuring out which butterflies to eat and which ones not to bother with. That's mimicry. It's called Mullerian mimicry, named after a guy named Muller. Mullerian. Mullerian.
It's awesome. I'm so glad I own a book by this
In
guy.
North America, the best-known butterfly mimics are the monarch and the look-alike viceroy.
Look-alike Viceroy
Well,
is
fellow nature nuts, I think that's about all the time we've got for tropical
added to the
butterflies.
Look-alike Voice of Viceroy group chat.
Ooh, I was actually thinking of eating that banana. I think I've been here too long. I've definitely been here too long. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't been here too long. I love it here. It's like, it's like one of those indoor tropical butterfly gardens, except it's not indoors. This is the real thing. I love the real thing.
Thank you,
Because
John.
I'm
That's
nature nut,
great
And I
advice.
hope you are too. See you again soon.
Oh, Those are my recommendations. Ignore that. I figure that this probably won't have a VOD because almost certain, like, because I don't want to take a chance on it being taken down. But also, like, I figure no one's gonna be like, oh fuck, I can't believe you're restreaming the YouTube videos of Acorn the Nature Nut. All right, next I'll do at least one more episode. Once again, here's your chance. Actually, you know what I'll do? Here's what we'll do. We'll do a quick pause. We're gonna go to a different type of learning. We're gonna watch his mostly forgotten TV show about bird watching. So now we're going to the adult show. No longer for kids. We're gonna go to the Christmas episode of the bird watching show. So this is a different show. Then we'll go back one more time. John Acorn is the kind of guy, if you emailed him and asked if you could restream, absolutely. So yeah, here we go. Time for the hidden thing. Hit the butterfly. Oh my god, you did! You hit the butterfly! Hell yeah!
What Canadian city has the most hummingbirds on the Christmas bird count? The answer is coming right up on Twits and Pishers, the birdwatching show.
It's time for the birdwatching show. Oh, new theme song! So yeah, this has never been collected anywhere, and I didn't think it had ever been archived online until just there was a YouTube channel one day, and all of it got uploaded, and I was so happy. It's so cool.
Hello, fellow birders. Well, it's Christmas bird count time again. You know the old carol? Last year we were at the Edmonton, Alberta Christmas bird count, which has more people than any other Christmas bird count on Earth. A record of 1,200 people participated in one of those counts. And this year, we are in Victoria, British Columbia, where they find more species of birds than any other count in Canada. There are about 200 people who are involved in this count. So, you've got to figure if they find more species of birds than anyone else, this must be the best place to go birding in Canada in the winter. Just makes sense. So the birders of Victoria are ready for us. The birds of Victoria are ready for us. Let's go see what this place has to offer. Victoria, the capital city of British Columbia, is situated.
That's really
at the
awesome,
southern
Quinn.
end
If
of
you know of
Vancouver
any others,
Island,
please
giving
send
it
them
a
to me so we
relatively
can
warm
potentially
climate
watch
and
them.
a tremendous variety of bird life. This is the Martindale
Hey, we're back on Victoria.
Valley,
If you're still watching Disco
and
Witch,
the bottom is called the
back with
Martindale
you.
Flats. And if the Victoria Christmas Bird Count Circle is the best place for birds in Canada in the winter, this is the best place within the circle. A couple of years it's produced more than 100 species on the Christmas bird count. Now there are 4 very keen birders scouring the area right now, and I'm going to meet up with Hank Vanderpool. We'll see what sorts of waterfowl we can locate here, and we might even see a Eurasian skylark.
You're looking for a Eurasian
Birders
skylark.
enjoy the Martindale Flats, but so do falconers. And the jesses trailing from the legs of this peregrine prevented us from officially counting it, although there were plenty of other interesting birds nearby. Well, there's one swan here. Hank, is that a trumpeter swan for sure? I can't quite tell.
Yes, that's a trumpeter swan for sure. It's you're looking at a fairly large bird with a thick neck.
Oh, that's a pretty bird.
Heavy body.
Wow.
And of course the bill is somewhat distinctive, although
Wait,
that's
shit, hang
sometimes
on. I don't know if I can watch this episode. I just remembered that there might be a Twits and Pishers episode that is specifically about Florida. And if so, I do need to find that because I did grow up in Florida. Hold on. Bon Portage? Where's that? Arizona. Thrush. Feather Friends. Winter with the Whooper. Waders and Gators. Further feathered fauna from Florida. Here we go. Here we go. It's my home. It's my home.
Yeah, okay, John, I think we're just already.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Could you repeat that, Larry?
I said, yeah, okay, John, I think we're just about ready here.
Yeah, good. I got plovers, sanderlings, I got laughing gulls, I got ring-billed gulls. There's quite a plethora here.
I'm sorry, Disco Witch, for turning off the Victoria episode. Maybe we'll watch that afterwards, but... Oh, Florida, 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 Florida. I grew up here.
fellow bird watchers, and welcome back to Sanibel Island, Florida. Last time we were in the J.N. Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge, National Wildlife Refuge, whatever it's called. Great place, but there's more to Sanibel Island than that. This beach is a very popular spot for people looking for shells, seashells. In fact, just about everyone here is looking for seashells, but to me, the big entertainment here is watching the birds. Now, there are lots and lots of shorebirds here and gulls, but we won't get into the technicalities of the shorebirds and the gulls yet, because I haven't figured them all out yet.
But I
We
missed
may
it. Where did he
never
say it was
come
in
back
Florida?
to those
We need to go
shorebirds
back
at
there.
Sanibel Island than that. Refuge, whatever it's called, great place. Sanibel Island, Florida. Last
Sanibel
time we were in the J.N.
What does it say? Hey, look up where this is.
Hello, fellow bird watchers, and welcome back to Sanibel Island, Florida.
Sanibel.
Last time we were in the J.N. Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge, National Wildlife Refuge, whatever it's called.
Sanibel.
Great
That's
place,
the name of it.
but there's more to Sanibel Island than that. This beach is a very popular spot for people looking for shells, seashells. In fact, just about everyone here is looking for seashells, but to me, the big entertainment here is watching the birds. Now, there are lots and lots of shorebirds here and gulls, but we won't get into the technicalities of the
Okay,
shorebirds
so that's
and the
opposite
gulls
coast
yet,
to me, but I have been to
because I
Fort
haven't
Myers.
figured them
Okay.
all out yet.
Sad.
We may never
But-
come back to those shorebirds and gulls, but there are tremendous
pelican.
numbers of brown pelicans diving into the water
Pelicans
here.
are
Now, they're
so
diving
fucking
from
cool.
fairly low heights, so it's not all that spectacular, but it's still neat to see a pelican
love
dive.
how they
Back
do
in
it. It's
Canada,
gonna
the white
crash.
pelican never dives. It's more of a swim along and scoop with your bill kind of a bird. And I've never seen this many ospreys in one place before in my life. You can just stand here or sit here on the beach and watch dive after dive after dive. Well, there goes one now. No, see, most of the time they don't get a fish. When they do get a fish, it's really something. Let's see now. Oh, that guy's not going to go. Here's one. And down and... Oh, ooh, nice splash. Oh, yeah, he's fighting it. It's flipping. Got it in the air. Oh, nice fish. He's having some trouble keeping
Wow.
that one. Get the head
That's a hell of a
forward in
fish.
the aerodynamic
Oh my
position.
God.
And away he goes. Oh, that's great. That's great. You just can't beat this place for osprey watching and this sort of thing. So let's have another look around, see what we can find.
Why does he have the "Oh brother, where art thou, Sheriff Cooley" look? He looks like the bad. I had to look up which character that is, but he looks like the bad
Southern
guy from
Florida
"Oh brother,
boasts
where
a
art
number of
thou,"
top birding
with the
spots,
solid
but
black
two of the
glasses,
very best are
and the
Sanibel
hat and
Island near
everything.
Fort Myers and the Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary. The birds
Oh,
on
yeah.
the beach can be a real thrill to watch, and even a familiar bird like a ring-billed gull can sometimes come up with an act that is genuinely amusing. Hey, and
Those
some
are
people
always
think
amusing.
they're dirty. Admittedly, most of the people around me were only aware of the big, spectacular brown pelicans. But you know, I had to laugh when that gull had finished its bath. It looked so very proud of itself.
Look at that gull. I love seabirds so much.
So what do you think that bird is over there? This is a trick question, by the way. You know, before you get into birding, you think that a crow is a crow is a crow, but that is not an American crow, the typical widespread crow. That's a fish crow, which is an East Coast kind of a crow. And you can tell, well, they look
East
almost
Coast just isn't
exactly the
American.
same, but you can tell most easily by the voice. The American crow just says caw, and the fish crow says uh-oh, kind of like that. The
Great
crows,
noises.
it's really interesting that the process of bird evolution produced not just one species of crow, but a whole mess of different crows. We've seen the fish crow here, the American crow, the northwestern crow in Vancouver. It's another beachcombing crow. Well, we looked for the Hawaiian crow in Hawaii, but there's almost no Hawaiian crows left. And if we had been adventuresome, we could have gone down to the garbage dump in Brownsville, Texas, and looked for the Mexican crow. And wouldn't that have been fun? Too bad, maybe next time.
Wouldn't it have been
Isn't
fun to go to the
interesting
garbage
way
dump?
this,
That would have been great.
Fish crow here
is picking
I
up bits of
completely
food
believe
and
he's
then
sincere.
hiding it in among the beach debris. That's a very typical habit of all the members of the crow and jay family, and they can remember dozens, even hundreds, of individual food items that they have tucked away to eat later on. They always find more food than they can eat at a single time. If these birds had
Ooh, that's
car
an
keys,
interesting render
they'd
of
never
this.
lose them.
I could just watch footage of birds walking around all day. I need to do more bird watching because I just love watching birds. They're just fun.
Well, this is an interesting turn of events. We're on the causeway now that connects Sanibel Island to the mainland in the Fort Myers area of Florida. It's worth stopping along the causeway because it's a good spot for shorebirds and gulls and terns. Now, I've been looking for the Wilson's plover and the snowy plover, haven't seen them yet, but there's some nice Forster's terns feeding along the shore here, diving into the water and catching a few fish. Now, that's of course a bird that we see in Canada in the summertime in its breeding plumage with the nice black cap on the head. Down here they're in the winter plumage with that little face mask sort of a pattern.
Wiggle.
Still a very attractive bird. But these are the interesting terns here resting on the shore. That nifty looking one, the very swept back tern that looks like it's going a zillion miles an hour even when it's sitting still, that's the sandwich tern, presumably named after the islands and not the food. And you can recognize it by the black bill with a little yellow tip on the end. And the sandwich tern almost always hangs out with another species of tern, the royal tern, and that's a royal tern right over there with the orange bill. You know what they say, one good tern deserves another. They migrate together, they feed together, they even nest together. And when they nest together in huge colonies, the little tern chicks get all mixed together as well. And I guess when the parent birds come back from feeding and they go to regurgitate all that nice dead fish to the chicks, they get confused and they're saying to each other the tern equivalent of, well, is it your turn? No, it must be your turn.
He can't stop
My
making
turn.
these jokes.
No, that's my turn.
I mean, I also
These
wanted to
turn
make those
jokes, they're
jokes.
so easy to churn out. Turn, no, it didn't work. Anyway, let's get back to some tern watching here. Yeah, they're just going to sit here. It's kind of the warm part of the day, not the best time for fishing. You know, I might just sneak over and try to put this on the beach, and then we could get a shot of a tern on a dime.
Terns aren't the only interesting
I'm
species
glad
along
I
the
didn't make
shoreline
a tern
of
joke,
Sanibel
as I
Island.
was thinking about doing.
How about these ruddy turnstones, a sharply patterned shorebird that just about anyone can recognize easily? Or this willet. Willet what? Willet fly away, I guess. In some ways they are similar to terns, at least as far as pun potential goes.
The beach here at Sanibel is one of the easiest places you'll ever find to watch shorebirds. You can walk right up to them. There's so much food here, they
gotta
have
find
to
some
forage
shorebirds
with
in
the
Seattle.
shell
I gotta go
crowd.
bird watching.
So they're quite used to people. You can walk along behind a shorebird. You don't even need your binoculars because most of the time you can get closer than your binoculars will focus. You just compare
Actually, I
the
don't know if
bird
either of these are
with
made
the
for
field
kids.
guide until you either identify it or decide that you don't care what kind of shorebird it is, and then you can follow another one around for a little while. It's a good thing. Now, this particular part of the beach is a good spot. Oh, there's one right now. A snowy plover.
This one, though, for a while I could not find
cute
proof
little
it
bird.
existed.
The snowy plover is like a little version of a killdeer with all the color washed out of it. Very
all
beautiful
ball.
bird. Actually,
That
it's
is a boar.
declining
That is
bird,
absolutely
becoming
a boar
less
bird.
common all the time. But watch how it has a run-stop method of feeding. It'll run a little ways and then it stops, looks around, rushes over, catches a little insect or a crustacean. Wonderful bird. Don't confuse them with the sanderlings. There's some sanderlings over there. The same color, very light in color, blends in with the sand, but with a pointier appearance. And of course, the sanderling is a type of sandpiper, and the snowy plover is a type of plover. The plovers have that cute sort of round-headed look. Can't mistake them for anything.
They're so cute. Butterfly video were exclusively for kids. They would let him talk about getting butterfly strokes. I feel like that's fine. Like, not expressly for kids, but it's definitely like kid-friendly science.
You know, a lot of birders will tell you that they prefer bird names that have a descriptive component to them. Names that describe something about the bird, the appearance of the bird, rather than names of birds that have to do with places or people that you may or may not have heard of. But, you know, my personal feeling is that descriptive bird names are often more of a hindrance than a help, especially when you're just learning the birds the first time.
This is
For
true,
example, have a
actually.
look over there. That's a familiar shorebird to us. That's a black-bellied plover, and as you can see, there is absolutely no black on the belly. That other shorebird over there is a red knot, and it is not red. We've seen red-tailed hawks with no red in the tail, ring-necked ducks with no ring on the neck. We've seen black guillemots that are almost pure white. My advice to you is, think of bird names as more or less arbitrary labels for the birds. Don't think of them as a shortcut to learning the birds. You still have to learn the field marks, learn the names as you learn the field marks, and then you'll be all right. You could always learn the scientific names if you want. Even more fun. Calidris alba. Well, it just wouldn't be right to do a show about birding anywhere near the Ding Darling Refuge without at least a few herons and egrets. The great egret with a bright yellow bill is much larger and less flamboyant than the delicate snowy egret, not to be confused despite the fact that both sound like they have a frog in their throat, which is for a heron a frequent possibility.
Boo! Look at those, though.
This delicate blue-gray bird with a white underbelly is the tricolored heron, the yellow
Herons
legs
the great blue
presumably
heron is my
representing the
favorite
third
bird.
color. And here's a young little blue heron hunting for lizards and bugs in the grass and undergrowth.
Wait, hang on. Say that again. Is that
The reddish eagle bird color. And here's a young little blue heron hunting for lizards and bugs in the grass and undergrowth.
Never mind.
The reddish egret is the hyperactive clown of the heron and egret clan, and a real thrill to see. A hawk soaring overhead, and birders everywhere are on the alert. Light translucent crescents near the tips of the wings give this species away. Can you guess what it is?
I'll talk about my favorite bird in a minute, because I have a fun fact about that. For the Discovery Channel. Huh, we must have found it on the Discovery Channel. I'll bet my dad
The bird
found
in the
it,
dead branch
recorded it, and
behind
then
me
showed
is
it
a
to- showed it to me.
red-shouldered hawk. It's quite a buffy-breasted hawk, long-tailed. It's one of the soaring hawks, not one of the accipiters, the bird-eating forest hawks. Don't be fooled by that. And this particular red-shouldered hawk is the most photographed red-shouldered hawk in all of North America. It's often sitting on that same branch. Photographers are passing by here every day, so memorize the configuration of that tree, and you'll be able to tell if you're looking at this particular hawk next time you open your birding magazines. Cooperative or what? Another Florida birding classic is the anhinga or snake bird. These skinny, rubbery, fish-eating creatures are like cormorants in that they have to dry their wings
Hell
after
yes,
each
that's
dip
awesome.
in the water, and they have
I wanna
to
send him
swim
a letter
to catch
thanking
fish.
Look at that bird, son. Look at that bird.
In the air, they look like strung-out lizards with wings, but in the water, they look for all the world like miniature Loch Ness monsters, with only their head and neck protruding above the surface.
And coming for you. These things are so cool.
Here's another weird one, the black skimmer. This bird is actually a member of the tern family, but its lower bill juts out past the upper one, giving it a pouty look when it rests on the beach. In the air,
Sad bird.
however, it slices that bill through the water like an open pair of scissors, much to the fatal surprise of small fish near the surface. What if it hits a rock or an alligator? Well, hopefully the head can bend back fast enough to prevent any harm, but if I was a skimmer, I'd be worried about it all day, every day. Now I can hear a sound down there like little bird feet on dry leaves. Oh, there he is, there he is. Yeah,
look at
isn't
that
that
guy.
nice? That's a familiar bird from back home. You know, with the brown back and the spotted breast, the white eye ring, you'd think that was a little thrush. But notice the orange cap on the top of the head. That's actually an ovenbird, which is a type of a warbler.
Awesome.
And that's a familiar bird in the summer in Canada, in mixed woods and places like that. It's kind of neat to see it among the mangroves. Lovely.
I love mangroves. The trees behind
Lovely
him remind me
indeed,
of
although
home.
this young one, I'll admit, doesn't show much
I wish
orange on
Florida
the crown
didn't suck
stripe.
so much. I miss it.
One of the birds I was happiest to see on this trip was this single glossy ibis. We saw the white-faced ibis in Texas and plenty of white ibises in both Texas and Florida, but the glossy had evaded us up till now, until we found it in a ditch by the roadside on the way to the Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary.
Awesome.
Look at that, it's even glossy. When we arrived at the sanctuary, our first stop was the feeder, patronized by numerous common grackles, red-winged blackbirds, and northern cardinals.
I need to set up a bird
We were hoping
feeder.
to see a painted bunting, but
Maybe
hey,
that's what
you
I'll do
can't
this
have
weekend.
everything.
No, wait, this weekend I'm busy. Maybe that's what I'll do when I get home from Canada. Set up a bird feeder.
Another
Need to
real
do that.
treat was a look at a few red-bellied woodpeckers, one of which actually showed us the tiny patch of red on its belly.
That belly is in
They
fact
have
red.
great red
Wow.
heads, mind you, but that name was already taken by another species of woodpecker.
Imagine having a really red head and then finding out that your you
The
can't
few
be named
remaining
that because your
natural
buddy has a
inland
slightly
habitats in this part of
red
southern
head.
Florida range from pine woods to wet prairie and cypress swamps. I got a tour of these environments from Andrew Mackey, the assistant manager of the Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary.
Also, it makes so much sense that he was a park ranger before he had a TV show. I have met many national park
This
people.
is the boardwalk through the
I'm
national.
gonna pause it for a second. I've met many national park people who I would like meet and then just kind of be like, wow, yeah, you should have your own TV show. You are entertaining enough that I feel like you should have your own TV show to me. The fact that they did it for this guy is awesome.
Audubon Society's Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary, which is about a 45-minute drive from Sanibel Island. It's a wonderful place to visit because you see a lot of habitats that you just don't see at all on the island. And if you'll look over in this wet prairie habitat, you'll see that bird there is an American bittern, which is the most widespread member of the heron family in North America. You'd think that it would be the most familiar heron on account of its range, but it's not because it's so secretive. It's so well camouflaged and it moves so slowly and quietly through the marshes. You do hear them during the breeding season, though. They have a wonderful sort of a gablunk kind of a call to them, which has given them a number of unofficial common names like thunder pumper and gulper. So you rarely see it, but you often hear it, and when you hear it, you just can't believe that it's a bird. Fantastic creature. Nice to see it. Very patient bird as well.
Hummingbird feeder's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you're saying the wood storks used to nest in the trees around here?
Yep, Corkscrew has the distinction of having the largest wood stork colony in North America. And in a good year, we have lots of wood storks and lots of wood storks nesting. This year, right now, they're not nesting yet. That doesn't mean they won't nest. It depends on what the weather does.
You say they didn't nest yet this year, and they didn't nest last year either, did they? Or they nested, but they didn't succeed.
Right, they actually nested last year, but late. And when they nest late and into the winter, then they run the risk of going into our wet season in the spring. And unfortunately, that spreads their food back out. All the fish are spread out. It's harder for them to catch fish. They fish by touch. They have a great bill that is very sensitive, and it can close extremely fast. And as soon as a fish swims between their open bill they snap it shut.
Oh, is that right? Oh, that's neat. That's neat. Well, we've seen them feeding in the roadside ditches and out on Sanibel Island. I guess they must be fairly long-lived birds, and they can go through a couple of years of not successfully breeding and then hopefully catch up.
I'd imagine they are, and that was the way nature intended it. Some years, of course, were good, and some years weren't. Unfortunately, we've thrown a monkey wrench into the situation by making most years fairly bad.
Yeah.
We've taken a lot of their feeding areas away.
Sure, and not too many breeding habitats left.
Huh. That's fascinating, Gwen. It's like the alternate universe version of meat. Can you send me a link to that Reddit post you found?
This little blue heron provided the best bird entertainment of the entire trip. They're very handsome birds, and when this one grabbed a crayfish in front of a crowd of a dozen or more people, and then started crunching on it with that chopsticks bill of its, we really couldn't believe that it was going to just swallow the thing in one gulp. Whoa, I wonder how that tastes. Oh yeah, have a drink of swamp water and wash that crawdad down.
I love how the previous show was like all nature facts, tons and tons of learning about different animals. This one's just like, well, we went here and here's all the birds we found. It's fucking awesome. It's what television should be.
Oh, isn't this just a typical situation? Everything is totally quiet. You think there's no birds, and suddenly you're surrounded by a wave of small birds. There's downy woodpecker there. I just saw a yellow-bellied sapsucker back there, and a great-crested flycatcher that has a bit of a yellow belly itself. There's a couple of warblers here too. Palm warbler. Where'd that guy go? Oh, there it is. Black and white warbler moving up the bark of the tree like a little nuthatch. There's a bird that lives up to its name. It's beautifully black and white, very nicely patterned.
Wow!
And this guy here is a lifer for me. That's the yellow-throated warbler. Don't confuse it with the common yellow-throat. And that's a very typical southeastern warbler. See how he's moving through the branches, checking out every one of those epiphytic plants for some little bug to eat. Gorgeous bird. Very nice to see. What else have we got here? A couple of solitary vireos. Whew. I'm totally satisfied with this birding experience.
I'm glad you had such a good birding experience, John. I had a good
Well,
experience.
there you have it. Another
Yeah!
handsome
The bird
checklist of birds
checklist!
from the
Let's
sunny
go!
south. Not bad for a winter outing. As for the numbers and setting a new goal now that we've passed 200, I gotta tell you, at this point, I don't much care. I just want to keep on seeing more birds.
Awesome. This is a good show. Okay, I'm gonna do one episode of the Nature Nut show. If you have an animal that you would like to see, there's another thing. Now's your last chance to ask for it before I do the last one. But the killdeer doesn't even kill deer. Unfortunately, probably true.
The Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary is said to be the best place in Florida to see a barred owl. But, you know, nothing in birding is a guarantee, and we didn't have any owl luck today. But that's okay, because we have barred owls back in Canada, and although I've really enjoyed the Florida birding experience, I've been seeing lifer after lifer after lifer. When we talk to Florida birders, they want to hear tales of high adventure in search of snowy and great gray owls.
So next time, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back up to the boreal forest, and we're going to look for snowy, great gray, any kind of owls we can find up there. Will we succeed? Well, who knows? You get it? Who knows? Join us next time. Until
Look at
then,
the little
happy
smile
bird
he
watching.
did when he made that joke. Mushroom? Alright, that's one request for Mushroom. Any other requests? Last chance. I'll go through the list again. Yeah, we got Nature TV, Underwater Winter Skinks, something, I guess bats, probably, Upside Down Geckos. Okay, yeah. Hawaii, Arachnids. Oh. Alright. Looks like I'm gonna go with mushrooms. Yeah, underwater. Oh, skinks? Okay, I'll do skinks. I'd like to see the skinks one. Let me see that one. I love a skink. This is one of the last episodes, so we'll watch this.
While I'm a nature nut, I'm not
It should have a
afraid
lot
to
of
admit
dumb costumes
I'm
and
wild about the
things.
wild things and I'm proud of it. I'm just a simple case, open and shut. No doubt about it, I'm a nature nut. Today we'll go bird watching. Tomorrow we'll catch toads. The next day we'll take photographs of bugs along the road. I never get the feeling that I'm in a rut. That's why I'm a nature nut.
It's very
While
easy to
I'm a
convince me
nature
to watch
nut,
videos about
I'm not
lizards. I love
afraid to
lizards.
admit I'm wild about the wild
Are
things
skinks
and
even a
I'm
taste
proud
pick?
of it.
Teaches at the
I'm
University of
just a
Alberta.
simple
That makes
case,
sense, yeah.
Open and shut.
That makes a lot of
No
sense.
doubt about it, I'm a nature nut.
Hello, bonjour. It is right here in the philosophy book. A skink, therefore I am. And with the very act of skinking,
Win, send me that
the
too.
skink does justify its own existence. Oh boy. Well, I may have mastered the intricacies of philosophical thought, but I have not yet mastered the French accent. My apologies. But we are going to look at skinks today. Not skinks in a state of nature, as Hobbes would have it, but rather skinks under the influence of mankind. And what is a skink? Well, stick around. I'll tell you, I promise.
Well, the good thing about skinks is that most skinks look very skink-ish. They have the same look in their eye, all 1,300 species of them, although some of them are a lot slimmer than others and some of them are quite heavy-bodied. A really slim one might be, say, the metallic skink, the one that's introduced in Hawaii, very common there. The five-lined skink and all the rest of the blue-tailed skinks, they're quite slim, sleek-looking skinks. This black-throated skink is kind of a middle-of-the-road skink. And then you get into the heavier skinks, like the Schneider skink. It's like a big version of this one, with different colors, of course. They all have different
Schneider
colors and
skink.
different details in terms of their scale patterns and their anatomy and so on. Things that make them different species. And then you get into the really heavy skinks, like the blue-tongued skink.
Oh, yeah, they got blue tongues.
Species of that sort. There
I
are
love
a
those
few
guys.
really weird ones in the family. I think the Solomon Islands prehensile-tailed skink is about the strangest of all the skinks, at least the strangest ones that I've seen. And then there are, there's things like the water skink, and I don't even saw this thing at the pet store the other day. I don't even know if it's a skink for sure. Sometimes they make mistakes in the names of things at pet stores, and that's a strange-looking skink because some of the scales are kind of ridgy. Not that that's unheard of in the skink family, but I don't know. I have to confess my ignorance. I don't know what to say about a water skink. I want to go water skink, but I want a fast boat.
That joke was even worse than the previous joke.
I'm gonna talk
Jesus.
to you about the blues now.
Is it gonna be blues because it's a blue tongue
We
skink?
always like to laugh at the blues. And some folks, they figure that only people get the blues. No! Ha! Couldn't be any
The
further.
jokes in this
from
one
the
are
truth.
painful.
Critters get the blues too, you know. Especially skinks. I seen skinks so much into the blues that their whole tail goes blue. Oh yeah. But they got it all wrong.
Because some other critter comes along and it bites on that tail and the tail comes off and the skink thinks to itself and thinks, I got rid of my blues. My blues are all gone. They went away in the mouth of that varmint. But you know, and I know too that the blues is the truth. And the blues is always gonna come back, and sure enough, those skinks, they get their tails back, and they're blue again. They got another blue tail. Oh, baby. No, I gotta tell you a story. There's one kind of skink that's got the blues, it's got the good blues wrapped up. You know what I mean? It's the blue-tongued skink. The blue-tongued skink has got such a blue tongue that it lives the blues. It is the blues. Can't help the blues. It knows the blues, and it reads the blues. And they got
This is
tongues that
so
are so blue. And you can't get rid of them. Once you got a blue tongue, you got a blue tongue. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? And you know what the blues is like? The blues has got to flow from you. It's got to flow from your fingers and from your tongue. You feel that? You feel my blues? Oh, yeah. But my tongue ain't blue. And that's why I'm so jealous of those blue tongue skinks. Because they got the true blues.
You could just get a persona, man.
And the blues is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Well, I'm a blue tongue skink.
No, here's the actual song.
Blues on my tongue. I'm a blue tongue skink. Got the blues on my tongue. I got the blues.
He's such a fucking dork.
Thank you very much.
When threatened, the blue-tongued skink opens its mouth
And now he explains
startles its
actually
enemies
why they
by
have a blue
sticking
tongue
out
in
its
this, like,
blue tongue.
ending video bit. God. What a
Okay,
great
well,
show.
you know where to go if you want
Computers!
to find out more information about skinks, right? Are you thinking the web? It's not my first choice. The web it's a lot of fun, but it's no substitute for a good library. And I'm not just saying that because
This is
I'm
true.
old-fashioned. I'm saying it's because it's true. You'll find a lot more information in a good library. Now, there isn't that much on the web about skinks so far, but there are some fun things. I like this web page. It was put together in a life science classroom.
He's recommending his favorite web pages about skinks. This is the greatest show that anyone has ever made. Hang on.
In a school in Warrensburg, Missouri. The teacher's name is Trish Smith, and the student's name is Jamie. Here's Jamie's blue-tongued skink webpage. It's got a nice picture of Telequa skinkoides, the scientific name of the blue-tongued skink. Some information about this sort of skink, and it finishes up with the profound observation, blue-tongued skinks live alone. I figure if you live alone, you get more food. That's very true, Jamie. Excellent. And that's the kind of beautiful wisdom that you rarely find in the library, and you find all the time on the web.
What a die. That was amazing. Oh my god. Fuck, that was so good.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you all for being with us here today. I've had a look at your file. Frankly, I've seen this scenario play itself out all too many times. I'm glad you waited for a professional, didn't try to do anything crazy on your own. Frankly, the solution to your problem is fairly simple. What you want to do is set up a skink tank.
Doesn't he mean a think tank?
The man's a professional. It's a skink tank.
Okay, well, as part of my standard consulting fee, I've agreed to provide the tank itself. There it is. It's a high-quality piece of equipment that's going to give you years of good service. The substrate subcommittee, have you got silica or calcium sand?
Silica sand.
Very good, sir. Could you place that into the skink tank, please, at this point in time?
He had so many ideas for jokes
Substrate's
based
important.
on the word
Very
skink.
important. You don't
And
want
this
to
episode is
underestimate
just that.
The importance of substrate. I'll just even that out a bit. Now,
The Water and Interior Design Committee, I believe you've got the items handy. Could you please place them in a fashion that would be acceptable to the skink itself? Excellent. Take your time. Take your time. Don't rush anything. Ah, yes. Placing it on top of the rock. I haven't seen that before, but I think it's going to work. I think it's really going to work for us. Very good, very good. Well, the next component, the skink itself. I brought in this skink at great expense. It's the best skink I could find. It's the right skink for the job. Now, of course, a skink is a kind of a lizard, and I'm going to place the skink in the skink tank at this point in time. There we go. One skink ready for action. Okay. Once you've got your skink in your skink tank, you should be thinking security. Have you got the security equipment with us? Thank you very much. Good job. I'm glad you got the right kind of stuff here. There we go. Security.
I love this.
Skink is all ready, enjoying its new home. How about lighting? The Incandescent Lighting Committee was able to acquire the right fixture. Very good. Very good. Thank you. I'll place that right here. And when you plug it in, you're going to notice that you get not only light, but heat as well. Beautiful. And the Fluorescent Lighting Committee? After all, every skink needs its vitamin D. A little bit of UV. That's going to be beautiful. Not just any bulb will do. There we go, a fluorescent fixture. Fluorescent light bulb, optimized for use with reptiles. UV radiation provides vitamin D synthesis. Okay, well, that's all there is to it. It's as simple as that. And according to everything we know about modern management theory, this is going to solve your problems. So lean in, have a close look, and when the insights start to flow, I want
This is going to make line go up. This will make line go up. Absolutely.
There, do you see that?
This would make so many lines go up.
Skink itself, a very confusing word which has caused no
Time for another
end of
bit.
doubt and consternation on the part of many naturalists. Why, even the great Henry David Thoreau was once out walking with Walt Whitman, and they saw one. And Thoreau is rumored to have said, "Say, Walt, what is that?" And Whitman said, "Well, Henry, it's a skink." And Thoreau said, "Oh, a skink. Well, isn't that an unpleasant word? What does it mean?" And Whitman, being a master of languages, of course, was able to say it's derived from a Greek word, skinkos, meaning simply lizard. That's all there is to the story. It's not mysterious at all. It doesn't have any reference to the smell of a skink, and it certainly is not the plural of the word skunk. That, of course, is skunkai. The plural of the word skink is skinkai.
Attended skink meeting as a positive event. Yeah, that's so
Perhaps
true.
you'd believe the rest of the story. Yes.
Oh, what do you think when the skink takes a drink?
It's time for the song.
And only a wink being sure not to blink. Oh, a skink in the bank is no rink-a-dink thing. It's your link to the clink if you call it a mink.
What are you talking about? What?
Skinks, 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 rink-a-dink-a-doo skinks. Skinks, skinks, most people think you'll be faced with a jinx if you blink.
Once again, I think the reason this took so long is because he had to come up with more skink jokes.
That old sphinx didn't blink when he spotted the lynx. Ring deep to the minks were protected by brains. Skink, skink,
I have no idea what he said.
Oh, a skink in the pink is no ink-a-dink thing. It's your link to the clink if you call it a mink.
I don't know what any of the things he's saying are.
That skinks are things. If you don't want to wind up in the drink, don't blink first when you're looking at a skink. Skinkity skinks. Skink, skinks, most people think.
Thank you, Karma.
You'll be faced with a jinx if you blink. Faced with a jinx if you blink.
This has been a beautiful stream today. And equally confusing and wonderful in different measures. What the fuck?
Let me tell you, it's not easy.
Sometimes you
making
don't
a
know
show
how to
about
end a
skinks
bit.
in
You
Edmonton,
just really
Alberta,
don't
in
know
the
how to
middle
end
of
a
the
bit.
winter. And it turns out the biggest concentration of skinks in this part of the world is right in here. This is Aaron Chappell's bedroom. He's a friend of mine. He's 15 years old, and he's a reptile nut. You think I'm a nut? He's a nut. This is great. Look at this. This is wonderful. There's Phil the chameleon's tank. That's beautiful. Over here, there's a skink looking out of his nice fuzzy little doghouse. Another couple of skink enclosures. Couple of more lizard tanks. And here's Aaron himself with a skink on his shoulder. So thanks for letting us invade your room, Aaron.
Oh, I appreciate you coming.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's our pleasure. That's a gorgeous skink. No, that's one of the 2 species of skinks that you've got?
It is,
This
yeah.
is just
This
some
is
guy
the one from
he found
Australia.
who has a
It's
bunch of
female.
skinks.
And I've also got another 2, a male and female from Indonesia.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They're all blue tongues, just different subspecies.
Right. That's a big, heavy, gorgeous lizard.
Yeah.
How did you get interested in this species?
Actually, I got my first one from the classified ads here in Edmonton.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So you can buy lizards through the classified ads
You can,
now?
yeah.
I haven't tried. That's great.
Yeah.
And your plan is to breed these?
Haven't tried doing
I've
that.
tried, but they don't get along, so I'm still looking for mates for both of them. So. Yeah.
Well, they're not cheap
That
lizards.
sounds
If you get
awesome.
babies, you could be a very rich man, couldn't you?
Yeah. That one will go for $250 to $300 Canadian.
No kidding.
Yeah, the other ones are a bit
Wow.
cheaper, 150, 200 in there.
Expensive snakes,
So, yeah.
skinks.
Well, gorgeous lizards.
Thank you.
I almost called it a
Do you,
snake.
I
I'm a
mean,
fool.
It's easy to handle.
They are.
Do you spend a lot of time with your?
Yeah, they're way more personable than something like a leopard gecko would be. They recognize you. And they're just a lot more fun than a leopard gecko or something.
No kidding. So she'll recognize your voice and perk up and all that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Woo! I can
Yeah.
feel that blue tongue on the back of my neck. Whoa, that's wild. What about the Schneider skinks? How did you get interested in that species?
Actually, we were down at a Seattle reptile show, and
That's
it was
me!
the last day, and everyone
That's
was trying
me!
to clear everything out. So they were on sale, and I couldn't resist. And I've really been quite happy with them. They're also quite personable, though not as much as
I live
blue
there.
tongues are.
Yeah, no, they're gorgeous. And even if they are bargain reptiles, that's, who
Hey,
cares? They're all
yeah.
beautiful. Oh, that's good. How many animals do you have total here, Aaron?
I just counted, and I've got 43.
43 reptiles.
Yeah.
And I counted 20 different cages and aquariums.
Yeah.
You know, you're living the perfect life. You've got the perfect parents.
I do, yeah.
When this goes on the air, teenagers all around the world are going to be jealous of you. Man, even I'm jealous. He's got more reptiles than me.
All right, raise your
my
hand in the
folks,
chat if you're jealous
they
of
had one
this
rule,
this
no
kid and
alligators.
his skinks.
I guess your folks don't like the snakes, right?
Yeah, nothing venomous either.
Yeah, it's a good rule. Strong rule.
I am jealous.
Skinks generally have tight skin, hard, shiny scales, and relatively short limbs for a lizard. Okay, well now it's time to have a visit with the world's largest skink, the Solomon Islands prehensile-tailed skink from the Solomon Islands near New Guinea. And I'm also going to visit with Wade Krasno, who is a reptile keeper here at the Valley Zoo in Edmonton. So thanks for bringing out the skink, Wade.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, what's this one's name?
Well, we call him Groucho because he has a bit of a mean streak in him.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you wouldn't expect that necessarily because they're vegetable and fruit-eating critters.
Yeah, they are. They're vegetarians, but they still have this mean streak in them. So
Is that right?
you have to watch them.
But he's looking pretty comfy, curled around your neck there right
Oh,
now.
well,
That's nice.
he loves me. What can I say?
And he's such a neat-looking critter with that very short face and the long prehensile tail. It looks kind of like a little squirrel or a monkey or something.
Well, yeah, they can use their tail like a monkey's because it is prehensile. They use it when they climb.
With the very sharp claws, you're probably feeling that right now.
Yeah, he was trying to climb up my head. They're very sharp. You can see I have the glove just in case he
Yeah,
decides
yeah.
to bite, because they're one of the nastiest bites that you can get. get from a reptile.
Yeah, well, it's certain. I mean, look at the big jowls on them. There's got to be a big block of muscle in that.
Didn't they find out recently that
I
there
think
actually
so.
is
I've been
poison in
bit by
Komodo
him.
dragons?
It's one of the worst bites you can get from a reptile. I mean, other than snakes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, look, he's smacking his lips there. What a.
Well, he was fed yesterday, so hopefully he doesn't think my ear's a fleshy peach or something.
Oh, I get such a kick out of him. He is really neat. They are quite popular as pets, and apparently they breed fairly well in captivity, but I imagine they need quite a bit of special care, don't they?
Yeah, you'd need a fairly large cage because he's quite big, you can see.
Yeah.
They need a lot of space, especially for climbing, so if you're going to have an enclosure for them, a cage, it should be tall and have branches in for them to climb. They also like to hide, so you have to put a hide in there for them. And you need special
Holy shit,
lighting
Karma.
because any reptile
Please
that
post
doesn't have
it or
special
send it to
lighting,
me so I can post it.
That they get sick and from the bones and all that.
Right, yeah, vitamin D and
Vitamin
all that
D,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah. What about water? Do you have to mist them every day, or?
Yeah, these guys like it damp because they need the humidity
Look at those
to
big
help
legs.
their digestive
Or
system.
big feet.
And they will go in the water and to have a poop, so you'll have to be changing the water every day as well.
Yeah, right. So it's not the kind of lizard you can buy and put in your old fish tank. You gotta think really.
If you did post it,
carefully
it didn't
before you
show
get
up
into
because of
Yeah, and with
probably
any,
Automod.
reptile,
But
you should do that.
I thought Automod would
Careful.
tell me that.
I brought an interesting quote, which I think you'll enjoy, from Philippe de Vosjoli, the famous writer of reptile books. He said, "They're like creatures out of a fantasy or science fiction book, small aliens, gnome-like creatures who live in their own special reality."
Yeah, he's got his own special reality, that's for sure.
Well, I guess we should probably put him back in his special reality, but thanks for bringing him on.
No problem.
It's a thrill to meet the world's biggest skink.
There he is. That's the world's biggest skink. Jesus Christ. Going from that to this is like being slapped in the face.
Pardon me. I'm in a bit of a Bavarian mood right now because I'm thinking about the legend of the Mutzelwurm, or the Tatzelwurm, the Stollenwurm, the Pratzelwurm, all those things. You know what I'm talking about. Here's an
of course it
illustration
is.
of the
Yes.
Mutzelwurm, published in a Bavarian hunting manual in 1836. Now, you know where I'm going with this. I mean, let's have another look. There it is. Tight skin, hard shiny scales, and short limbs. The skink family is worldwide. It's therefore had an influence on human culture throughout the length and breadth of our planet. Perhaps the legendary Mutzelwurm is indeed a skink. People who believe that the Mutzelwurm exists and is a hitherto undiscovered species of creature will say, no, it's not a skink because it's poisonous and it leaps. Couldn't possibly be a skink. After all, it kills goat herders. You know, they go into the cave in the middle of the day to eat their cheese, and the Mutzelwurm is waiting in there for them, jumps on them, bites them, kills them, and that's that. I mean, that's just what happens to you. Eat your cheese in the open. That's my advice to you if you happen to be a goat herder in the Alps, or if you're thinking of becoming one in the future. Those who believe that the Mutzelwurm exists do not want to admit that it might be a skink, even though there is a 2-foot-long species of skink that lives in the Alps. Coincidence? I think not. Anyway, let me tell you a little more about this legend. In the 1930s, a Swiss photographer took this picture. He was apparently walking along, saw a particularly attractive log lying on the ground, photographed it, and suddenly realized that it was, in fact, the legendary Mutzelwurm, and it tried to kill him. Well, my cousin and I, when we were young men, teenagers, we were so inspired by that photograph that we created our own Mutzelwurm, which I'm sure you'll agree does have a certain skinkiness to it. Took a picture of it, looked exactly like that picture. Very proud of that. We even worked it into one of our old home movies, Regular 8 movies. I'd like to show you a little clip just for fun. After all, it's part of how I got where I am today.
Oh my god.
Ah oui, absolument a skink, therefore I am. And if the skink is alone in the forest, does it make a sound? In the East, we ask, what is the sound of one skink? And if you bring a skink into your dwelling, it go to the place where you make the food. Does it become the kitchen skink? These are all the questions we have no answer for. And I love to ask the question. That is why I'm the nature nut, and I hope you are too. Au revoir.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Acorn the Nature Nut. I'm probably gonna end the stream there, but I hope you enjoyed learning things.
They don't get along.
We will end the stream though first by looking at the page about the blue tongue skink that he brought up on stream.
This is why I get the big bucks, folks. You got him?
The man's a professional. It's a skink tank.
I'm looking for another.
No doubt about it, I'm a nature nut.
Okay, now we gotta cut for sure.
What a great show. That was so much fun. Alright, let's go look at this while I find someone to raid. Here it is, the blue-tongued skink. The animal that I've been studying is the blue-tongued skink. It lives in Australia, New Guinea, and Tasmania. A long-tailed black brown. Look at this image of a blue-tongued skink. This is so great. Thank you so much, Karma. This is fantastic. Oh, what a good day. What a good day. Alright, let me see if anyone I know. Yep. Okay, yeah, Flannelcat's streaming. I'll just raid Flannelcat. Go watch her. Go tell her something you learned today. An important lesson that we learned today on stream. Probably something about a skink or a butterfly. Talk about butterflies being drunk. I don't know, whatever you learned. It was very fun. Thanks so much for tuning in. This was a really fun stream. I probably won't be streaming again this week because I'm going to a convention this weekend. But if you're in Seattle for some reason and you're going to the anime convention, I'll be teaching Netrunner there. And you can come learn Netrunner from me. For now, though, thank you for learning about so many animals. I'll probably do this again because it was so much fun, actually. I honestly want to do this again. So yeah, I'll see y'all around. And thanks again to Gwyn for finding all the info about how this show got uploaded and his kid, and to Karma for finding the fucking webpage. Great job. Bye, y'all!